Hi, welcome to the channel. Jay, and this is our 2 cents, where we talk everything boxing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. In today's live, we will be discussing DB3, now DB1, Abdullah Mason taking over VEA, and the fight night review of last night's fights. But before we do that, make sure you punch that like and subscribe button, and make sure you let me know and drop it below your 2 cents as I go throughout the video today. Man, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna run it down in a few minutes. I'm gonna let a couple more people pull up in here. Eventful weekend of boxing, and I mean, it's like we went from boxing being slow, everybody anticipating this fight, to so many things happening in the last 48 hours. It's crazy. And that's what you got to love about boxing. It's better than reality TV, y'all. You can't make this stuff up. But I know today is not the review show, but I want to show an interview and a couple of videos that I've seen after this whole debacle, because it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to unpack, and I'm going to give my 2 cents. And I've heard more things and got to see more things, but let's see what Abdullah Mason has to say. Congratulations to Abdullah Mason. He was able to save the show, so to speak, last night. I mean, he literally told Keyshawn on the stage, and I'm going to come and steal the show like I always do. He told him, like I always do. He didn't even have to steal the show from him. Keyshawn just gave it to him. Keyshawn wrapped the event up. He put it in a box. He took the whole event with my brothers on it, with my crowd here. I'm able to sell out and sell all these tickets. I'm only on my 13th fight. I'm coming up. I'm coming into my stardom. You know what? I'm gonna throw it in this box. I'm gonna put some wrapping paper on it, put a little bow on it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it in a gift bag. I'm gonna put how you get the tissue. He got the tissue in the gift bag, all nice. He got the different colors. He got the the tissue matching the color on the bag. He just handed it to Abdulah Mason. Here you go. Straight like that. And I just think that that's one of the biggest, mess ups I've seen in a while. But let's check out this interview from Abdulah Mason. And the thing I want to say about Abdulah Mason, there's a lot of people like, oh, I like Abdullah, but he don't got no personality. And then you look at a fighter like Keyshawn and everybody like, yeah, I like Keyshawn. I like his personality. He talking shit. He stand on business. When in reality, it really was almost like a show, like a cover for something. Like, like, why are you doing all this? Why are you doing all of that? And so when I watched this interview with Abdulah Mason, I'm like, why are people saying he don't have no personality? Because he's not being boisterous or just out there? Because he's not online saying things and then contradicting the hell out of himself? Because he's not trying to bring attention to himself and then complaining and playing victim when, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that he doesn't have a personality? But let me know what y'all think. Let me know and drop it below your 2 cents. I'm about to play this because congratulations to this young man. He's been moving along. He's been doing what he's supposed to do. He's been putting on the performances he's supposed to put on. He's made mistakes in the ring and been able to overcome adversity. But this is what I don't want to happen. I don't want people to see him coming up and see his rise, and then all of a sudden just want to turbo shoot him through being built up as a fighter. Let this man go through the proper stages that he needs to go through before y'all want to throw him in the ring with this fighter and throw him in the ring with this elite fighter and do this and do that. Let him get built up like he's supposed to and move how he's supposed to so he can become the person that he's supposed to before you put him in a position that he's not ready for and he end up crashing out. And I get it. It's a fine line with the marinating and babysitting and cherry picking, quote unquote, cherry picking and doing all this for too long. I get it. It's a fine line with that. But y'all see a fighter have 4 or 5 fights and, oh, we need to put him in there with such and such. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. And I hate when people try to call boxing fans dumb because it's literally a conscious effort that you have to take to learn this sport, the ins and outs and how everything go, right? But just on surface, you got to recognize when fighters are being built and when they're getting their skill to the level to where they are able to get in these big fights, because it's not just about, and I hope that Keyshawn was really an example of this. And I'm gonna give my 2 cents about Keyshawn, and I'm not here to tear Keyshawn down. I have my thoughts and opinions on Keyshawn. I always have. You can go back and check the catalog and check the videos. But I'm just saying it's not just about a fighter's skill. And that's the thing that fans really, really got to understand, because you got the skill, but do you have the maturity? Do you have the mentality to be ready to be under these bright lights? And you see a lot of time when these fighters fight these fights or get these big fights, the lights, the interviews, the attention, all of that affects them. Are you ready for that? So if I'm building a fighter as a star, I need to build them into that. You're not just a star all of a sudden. And I think that that's one of the mistakes that Keyshawn made. But let's take a look at this video, because shout out Abdulah Mason.
Oh my God, bro. That bitch swung that all in your face.
Yeah. No, we good.
Go up here, man.
Yeah.
One at a time, guys. Who wants to start it off?
Okay,
Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, where my other brother?
Abdullah, first things first, man. Crazy hectic week for you. You get the main event, you slide in, and now this. How does this all feel?
It feels great. Everything happened in its proper time, so that's what this is. We was ready for it, and we closed the show out with a great fight.
You had a tense moment with Keyshawn Davis at the press conference, and then he blows weight. You end up becoming the main event, winning by knockout. You think you sent him a message in any kind of way?
I think I sent everybody a message. I'm about business.
Abdullah, when you envision headlining a main event in an arena on ESPN, did you envision anything like this, number one? And number two, you were asked about your plans moving forward. What are your plans for the rest of 2025 in 2026?
What I envisioned, you know, it was a main event in Cleveland, Ohio for my first main event. But Norfolk is now like, you know, the support is amazing. It's now kind of like a second home to me. You know, what I feel like, you know, all the people, every time I come out, you know, great crowd. Anytime I run into anybody, you know, great supporters.
I wanted to touch on that for a second, how he said, you know, because he's been fighting on Keyshawn Davis's undercard. So they're very familiar with him, and how he said, you know, the people accepted him. It's like a second home for him. So think about that. And why I said Abdullah Mason taking over Virginia. Does this now mean that he will be able to put on a home fight where he's from in Cleveland, and he'll be able to go to Virginia and put on fights? Because that's huge. Because now you have two markets that you can tap into. And shout out to Big Supreme, because I just mentioned that. I know you just got in here, but he said Abdullah not ready. I don't care what y'all say. I don't like the performance. Now, I'm not gonna say I don't like the performance, but as far as him being ready, I was just talking about how fans need to give these fighters the time and the opportunity to be built properly so that they can become superstars. And fans get impatient and don't understand that it's more than just your skill that you have to have in order to be a star. And if Abdullah Mason can capture two different markets while he's in the process of being built into stardom, which is exactly what Keyshawn Davis was doing, that will be great for him. That would be great for him. He don't have to be trying to fight the elite fighters, the Tank Davises, and do all this and do. He don't need to be trying to focus on that right now. You know, Top Rank is gonna get him in the ring, get him belts, matchmake him correctly, put him in his hometown, maybe put him in Virginia, get him to sell out places, draw in big crowds, have great undercards, build a fan base. And then he goes on to the next step. Like, I don't understand what people don't get about that. And I get the fine line between marinating and doing this. I get it. I get it.
So that's what I envisioned, something like this, but in Cleveland. But it was an amazing turnout. What's next is we heading towards those titles. So, you know, whatever we can do to step forward, make that happen, you know, we're going to do that. So we're going to get back with the team.
So the next fight is for the vacant?
I'm not sure what the next fight is going to be. That's what we're going to, you know, head to the back. Yes, sir.
I'm glad you said it, Jay, because that was my next question. Because we know you're number two, and we know you could have petitioned for an interim title tonight. Seeing that you say the plan is to get the titles next.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna do that? You know what I mean?
That's what we're gonna do next. We have to get Nakatila out the way first. We're about to head to the back and see what we can make happen.
Abdullah, you fought in Keyshawn's hometown twice. When do we get a Cleveland one?
Man, hopefully that's in the works too for next. So, you know, everything is unfolding at its proper time. So right now it's the first step to a lot of greatness, inshallah.
You think you could pack out a house in Cleveland?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on leaving the fighting to the ring after allegations that DB3 jumped Albright?
First of all, I will be a little irritated because why y'all keep asking me about Keyshawn, man? Why do y'all keep asking me about this guy? And so I'm watching this interview, and I mean, he answering the questions. He's articulate. He's well spoken. Like, why are people saying he don't got no personality? Because he not. I don't get it. Y'all let me know and drop it below. Why y'all think he don't got no personality? I mean, he giving me like Earl Spence vibes. You asking me a question, and I'm answering it. I'm being truthful. I'm being honest. I ain't doing too much. Why he don't got no personality?
What happened?
DB3, their allegations that they jumped Albright. What are your thoughts on leaving the fighting to the ring?
I mean, that's not how I get down. You know, I say that's you see where me and my brothers at. You know, we in here in the locker room together. You know, we enjoying our win, and like I said,
hey, that was a serious shot. That was a serious shot. That boy say, "You see where me and my brothers at? We see where we at." Y'all keep trying to talk to me about Keyshawn. I'm talking about me right now. This is my win. I love how he's not saying anything about them negative, and he keeping the conversation on him and focusing on what he's doing positive.
I said we about business. He said he did what?
That boy said that about business.
Albright said that Keyshawn and Keon jumped him in the locker room after the fight and punched him in the face and gave him a welt over his eye. What do you think about that?
No comment. I'm gonna head back to the room and enjoy our win. You know, with me and my brothers, the Mason brothers.
Abdullah, what was it like celebrating Eid the week of such a big fight here in Norfolk?
Man, celebrating Eid, it was different. You know, the day of the weigh-ins, you know, we went to the Eid prayer, and it was definitely amazing to be able to make that prayer, go to the Eid, and come back and still take care of what I had to take care of.
What was your reaction when they told you that Keyshawn's fight was canceled and that you were the main event?
It was definitely unexpected, sporadic, but that's what boxing is. You know, even inside the ring, you got to be ready for anything because anything can happen. You know, somebody could throw a punch, and that can also be unexpected and turn the whole night around. So outside the ring, when it's fight week, that's something you got to be on. You got to be locked in. You know, all the way around the board. So that's what I got my team for. All my brothers, my father, you know, my manager, you know, the promoter. So everybody's working hand in hand together to make us, you know, to excel us towards the next step.
Given everything that happened with Keyshawn this week, with the weight miss and now apparently this, do you feel like you kind of stole the show, maybe stole some fans from Norfolk?
Absolutely.
Why?
It's just what it is. You know, everybody see it. I don't got to explain much.
Man, that boy say everybody see it. I don't got to explain much. How could you not like this young man?
Sam Noakes is the WBO #1 contender. Do you have a message for him in the event that he is your next fight for the big title?
Let's make it happen. You know, let's have a great fight, and that'd be amazing. You know, it's something that people want to see. I feel like Sam Noakes is definitely a worthy opponent. You know, he let his hands go, great offense as well. But it'd be something amazing.
Would you be willing to go over there? Would you go over to the UK to fight him?
I'm willing to grab the title however it comes.
Abdullah, congrats on an incredible performance. How does it feel to save that night?
It feels amazing. Feels amazing. Norfolk, ex-Cleveland.
Proud of you, bro.
Yo, you've had a couple of step-ups. You've made them look like step-backs. Talk about your preparation and your growth as a fighter.
I feel like I grow immensely every fight. So that's the goal. You know, every time we in a training camp, you know, we get a new opponent. We want to grow to the point we make them look like the rest. So every fight is a step up, but that's the goal, to make him look like the rest, like I said.
And how do you rate Nakatil as an opponent compared to your last opponents? Anything different or new he brought as an opponent tonight?
I definitely felt his power. You know, that's one thing with those power punches. They could come from anywhere, and you got to be locked in because one punch and it's night-night.
Abdullah, it seemed like that Nakatil, it seemed like he kind of checked out.
Yeah.
You know, were you surprised that the fight was stopped like that, or you want? How do you feel about that?
I wasn't surprised. You know, I knew what I was touching him with, and I could see it breaking him down. So I wasn't surprised at the outcome.
I'm glad, Abdullah. We asked about your goals and as far as getting a title and stuff like that. But if you do capture this WBO title, well, are you trying to be undisputed? You know, unify? Like, what's the goal for 35? Well, you just some guys that get a title, they say they're gonna defend it and all that, then they move up or they miss weight. You know, what's the plan?
I'm taking it one step at a time, but one thing I can say is we're making boxing great again.
Hey Abdullah, can you do me a favor and introduce all your brothers to everyone that might not be familiar?
This is my younger brother, Ibrahim Mason. He's the youngest of the Mason brothers. I'm the second youngest, Abdullah Mason. He's right above me, Abdurrahman Mason. There goes Adil. He's next older than Abdurrahman. And there's Amir. He's the oldest.
And Pops,
and Pops, he in the back. So,
Walk us through how important it is to have them all with you, right?
It's a whole lot of them. Good Lord. I didn't know he had that many brothers. Y'all knew he had that many brothers? Holy. So I bet Keyshawn went in his locker room after the fight. That boy got like 5, 6 brothers. Good Lord. So I mean, we all talking about Keyshawn, and I came on last night and I did a live. I was only supposed to be an hour. I ended up being on here 2 hours. But I said last night, Keyshawn has made this all about him. Not only did he ruin his fight, he ruined the whole event. And I came on here, I wanted to open up my show and talk about Abdulah Mason because this young man, I've been watching him the last couple of fights. He's been doing a good job. He's been doing what he's supposed to do when he get in the ring with the opponents that he's supposed to get in the ring with. Once again, he had a moment. He got the opportunity to become the main event, and he capitalized on the moment that he was given because he's focused. He's focused. And I don't want everybody to stop like, I want to see him fight Tank. I want to see him fight. Like, don't start that. Like, let the man continue to be building and build up his career and be moved properly. Because what happens is y'all take these fighters and they doing a good job, and then y'all start putting squeeze down on them. And even though they still performing well and doing what they supposed to be doing, now all of a sudden they not this and not that and that fight and this and it's like, I don't understand. He not all in the videos saying he gonna do this and he gonna do that and calling out this fighter and calling out that fighter. He's not doing that. And I'm sure there will come a point in time in his career where he does need to start doing that, talking a little bit, saying this, saying that. It's different stages in these boxer careers and when they should be doing certain things. So that's all I'm just trying to say. Shout out to Abdulah Mason. Looking forward to watching him fight again. And hopefully, like he said, next time he'll maybe be the main event in his hometown. And let's say he wasn't even ready to be a main event right now, right? Let's say they make him the main event next fight and it don't do as well. Well, maybe he wasn't ready to be the main event. He was supposed to continue to be on Keyshawn's undercard until they built him to get to whatever it was that they wanted him to do. Boom, then they was going to throw him in Cleveland. But now all of that is shattered. All of that is shattered. And now he got thrusted and thrown into a main event. How do we know he wasn't going to be a main event? It might have been another year and a half or something. Like, you just never know. You just never know. It's no telling what could have happened to that man's mentality because now you switch to the main event. All eyes on you type of thing. Or people like, oh, I want my refund back. I don't even want to watch this fight. Like, you don't know how things like that affect people. So shout out to Abdulah Mason for stepping it up. Shout out to Abdulah Mason for stepping it up. Now, I got something else I wanted to review. Because I'm hearing a lot of different opinions and things like that about let me get these super chats. Shout out to Big Dog Willie with the $2 in the super chat. He says Jake Paul versus Tank, November 22nd, Las Vegas, MGM Fact. Shout out Big Dog Willie. Shout out to Low Blow Boxing with the $5 in the super chat. Paul versus Tank is all over YouTube. 2 Cents Boxing. What do you think about Tank versus Paul? Keyshawn WWE Davis was out of pack. Mason looked okay last night. Shout out Low Blow Boxing. It's funny that your name is Low Blow Boxing and you got this picture of Biggie right here. Like, that's just hilarious. So, what do I think about Tank versus Jake Paul? Shit, make the fight. Everybody keep asking for it. Mr. Shelton, 2 cents. Why did you bring up Tank? Nobody else has. Only you. What are you talking about? And no, I'm not the only person that's brought up Tank. When did I bring up Tank? But people was talking about Tank. Matter of fact, I was just on a panel earlier where they was talking about, oh, Tank he did a hit and run in the car and this and that. And I'm like, that's completely different. It got nothing to do with you missing weight, messing up your event, getting it canceled, getting tickets refunded, going into your brother's opponent locker room after he won a fight fair and square and headbutting him. Like, do y'all know? Listen. I don't know about y'all, right? Hey, y'all, I played basketball my whole life, right? And I grew up in the area of street ball. So we hooping on the street. So you playing basketball on the street, you bound to get into some altercations, foul, you ain't foul me, you hard foul me too hard, things like that, right? Do you know the type of people that headbutt people, bro? No, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying this apply to Keisha. I'm just saying, like, you know the type of people that headbutt people? Like, we're not even in a fierce altercation. I'm thinking you here to congratulate me, nigga. You're gonna headbutt me, bro. You're gonna headbutt me. Like that's like on some, you're gonna headbutt me, like that's wild. And then you're gonna headbutt me so hard that I got this big old knot at the top of my head. Ain't like the forehead like one of the hardest bones in your body or something crazy like that? So you're gonna walk into like you're gonna walk into my locker room. My guard is all the way down. Like I'm thinking you about to come congratulate me because I just did a good job. Just had a good fight. Just had a good fight, and you're gonna headbutt me. That is a marker for a not so sane person, bro. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. And I mean he already let y'all know he got mental problems, so I could be okay saying that. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not hating. Hold on, let me get my auntie skull on y'all.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating.
Not hating. Hold on, y'all. I gotta give somebody a wrench real quick. I don't know, some of y'all wrenches be disappearing. They won't even let me do it. I'm about to try to get somebody this wrench, but hold on. Be sure to punch that like and subscribe button, y'all. We got 52 people in here. I should have 52 likes. Oh, two more people just jumped in here. Y'all make sure y'all punch that like button. Somebody say, Auntie Sco, let's be honest.
Since we being honest, let's be honest.
All right, who I need to get this wrench to? Here we go. And so I'm hearing, different sides of the spectrum, and it's a lot of people that's kind of like just want to chalk it up to, oh, he made a mistake, right? And I got a question for the chat, like, and I hate to use the word judge, but can you like kind of judge somebody or make an assessment about somebody based off of the type of mistakes that they make? And a lot of people want to compare this scenario to that scenario to this scenario, but the things that happen in boxing, you can't necessarily compare them. You can understand how situations are similar and the same, but then it's like what happened in that circumstance or that situation to cause that to even happen, right? And so we're figuring out like what in this situation or circumstance caused this to even happen. Well, we got to go back to why didn't you make the weight for the fight? It's one thing to not make weight. Like Chris Eubank, for example. He didn't make the weight, but you see that he clearly tried to make the weight. And he was doing everything he possibly could to make the weight. And he didn't make the weight. Keyshawn Davis, did he look like he was trying to make the weight? I'm looking at the guy at the press conference. I'm like, damn, why does he look so big? Am I tripping? And now, I mean, you the butt of all jokes, Keyshawn. It ain't gonna show it to me. I don't want to log in. I just want to see it. I'm trying to show y'all this post that Andy Cruz put up. Oh, let me see if it's gonna let me do it. Nah, it ain't gonna let me do it. But y'all go check out Andy Cruz Instagram. He got a funny little post up by Keyshawn. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Let me see. He say exactly 2 cents. Shout out brother U and Q. Shout out Jonathan Simon. I believe Abdullah Mason will need some more experience before reaching the next level. Yeah, he needs some more experience, and nobody's rushing him. But see, because Keyshawn was that guy, right? I heard people like, "Oh, we don't need to talk about Tank no more. He's not worried about legacy. We talking about Keyshawn. Keyshawn, he's focused on legacy. He wants legacy. I've heard Keyshawn say several times he not trying to unify. He not trying to pay for no belts. I've heard him say that several times. So they create these fantasies about these boxers because they have an issue with another boxer, and it simply don't be true. Y'all heard Keyshawn saying in the interview how he don't want to pay for the belt. He ain't worried about getting stripped. And people saying, oh, he made a mistake. This wasn't a mistake. This was not a mistake. It was strategic and on purpose, just to give my 2 cents. So how are we saying it's a mistake? So the whole premise of why all this happened was no damn mistake. He didn't try to make the weight. He wasn't worried about getting stripped. And he thought he was finna punk De Los Santos into taking the fight. But that's just my 2 cents. Keyshawn isn't the only ignorant nigga in this world. Stop clutching your pearls. Nobody clutching their pearls. We're just having a conversation. It's boxing talk. This is the hottest topic in boxing right now. Keyshawn Davis is bipolar. Whatever, bro. That's no excuse. It's no excuse. You gotta keep it together. Keyshawn is a grown man. He's acknowledged and recognized that he have things going on. So he needs to keep those things that he got going on. He got to keep them in check. He got to know he got things going on and be listening to people around him when he getting out of hand, and he got to get back in order. When you got issues like that, those are the type of things you need to be aware of. Those are the type of people you need around you can trust. Those are the type of protocols you got to have in place to stop you from tripping. But what ends up happening is either you don't listen and those people that are around you get away from you, and you end up with a bunch of yes people around you, and then you end up crashing out, and then those people be gone. Auntie Zestfield, Auntie Schofield, let's be honest. Yeah, the doctor did stop that fight. His eye was messed up, Supreme. Shout out Mr. Greg in the building. All things, what up? Brother UEQ say, y'all hit that like button. Rich in the building. Rich said, I'm going to hit the like on my other ish. That's right. Go hit the like on all them jokers. Let's get everybody in this conversation. It's a good conversation. I'm only on here till 7. I've been talking for about 33 minutes. I'm going to drop the link in a second, but I just want to talk about this real quick. He ain't want no more. You seen he was okay with the stoppage. Oh, yeah, going back and forth. Yeah, I'm not clutching my pearls. What is y'all talking about? What? See, are people going to overreact to the situation? Of course they are. They overreact to the market always overreacts to the news. Of course, they're going to overreact to all the situations, but I'm not overreacting. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is objectively and logically speaking about the situation and giving my opinion about it. Just imagine if Tank had did the shit Keyshawn did this past week. I'm not even finna go there. We're not even finna do that. We're going to just stop acting like people who get into the sport of boxing are pillars or virtue in society. Mr. Shelton, why are you in my chat just repeating talking points? What are you talking about? Nobody is acting like nobody is a pillar of nothing. Nobody is acting like nobody is a pillar of nothing. That's not what I'm doing up here. What happened this weekend? Anybody in the chat? I know we got some people that have been watching boxing 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, however long you've been watching boxing. If you've seen a situation like this in boxing before, press 1. And when I say a situation like this, let's talk about the situation. Let's run through it, right? You got a fighter. Let me frame the situation for y'all. We got a fighter, up and coming star. And like I see all the examples and stuff in the chat, but it's like, so what is y'all point with that? Like, we shouldn't talk about it? Like, what is the point with, oh, this fight, this person did this? Like, are y'all saying we shouldn't talk about it? Are y'all saying we shouldn't feel like he should have some type of consequences for it? Or y'all saying we shouldn't acknowledge how this has affected him, his brothers, and his brand? Like, what are we saying? What are we saying? This is my first time since I've been watching boxing, and especially, just as deep into it as I am, and especially my first time as a content creator, where I've seen a fighter draw so much attention to itself, do the podcast, do the interviews, do the tweets, talk on the social media, go back and forth, able to accomplish what he's accomplished in 13 fights. Keyshawn Davis is on his way. He on his way. Now, it's a lot of people saying, oh, he should be suspended for 2 years, or this has ruined his career, or he gonna have to start all the way back down at the bottom. I don't think that that's true. I don't think that he's gonna have to start all the way back down at the bottom, or this has just been such this detriment to his career. It is a stain on his career, and it is changing the perception of him, if that makes sense. That's all I'm saying. He missed weight, right? Cool, you missed weight. Oh, the event is canceled. Now the event is canceled because you missed weight. This is your hometown. All these people came to see you because you're on your way up to superstardom. So I don't think people are talking about this, or at least I'm not talking about it in a way where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. A bunch of thugs. This is not the streets. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I cannot believe you did that at this point in your career. It's more of disappointment than it is clutching my pearls like, oh, I think you're a boxer. You're supposed to be perfect because people look up to you. No, that's not it at all. Shout out to Mr. Greg with $5 in a super chat. What in the world is wrong with Keyshawn? Some of these young fighters are terribly undisciplined. Shout out, Mr. Greg. And I'm going to drop the link in 2 minutes. And I'm going to say this because a lot of people want to give all of these examples and this fighter did this and this fighter did that before and this happened before. And I get it. It's boxing. It's emotional. It's heated. People do things in the moment. But I think a big difference in this, as far as what Keyshawn did and what other fighters did, is that those things happen with those other fighters in the heat of a moment. It happened with their own opponents. It happened before the fight, or like right after the fight, like in the ring, like something was going on, like maybe you was getting hit, like, you know what I'm saying? But for you to go into the locker room of your brother's opponent that lost the fight fair and square, your brother not even tripping about losing, and then you go in there and headbutt the dude. Headbutt him, not even push him, slap him, nothing. You headbutted this dude, which is insane. Anybody using their head in a fight is a red flag to me. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, but that's just my criteria. Anybody using their head in the fight is a dangerous person. And so it's more of a disappointment, like, for you to continue to crash out after you've done that. You get what I'm saying? it's more of a disappointment to watch this interview. I'm about to play this interview for y'all to see that you got things going on in your city and business deals and this and that. Like it's okay to make mistakes, guys, but some mistakes you can't make. Like I gotta be honest, some mistakes you cannot afford to make. And that's what I don't hear people saying. If you get over, if you get away with it, cool, that's good. But some mistakes you can't afford to make. You in trouble for smoking weed before your fight, you afford to make. And it's got real world consequences. You can get charges pressed on you. You can get a lawsuit. Then what you gonna do? You can be put on probation. Anything can happen. Jason Williams say 2 cents. You think Keyshawn missed weight and got stripped on purpose because the belt was too expensive? I don't really know. The belt is too expensive. Then what you winning for? Like I don't understand it because with this logic and reasoning, right, Jason? The belts are too expensive. That's gonna be tough when your fan base bases their merit on belts and championships and beating champions and getting belts and all these other things. That's what you hear. Keyshawn is a champion. He's a champion. So it's gonna be kind of hard to be like, oh, he ain't want the belt because it's too expensive when that's what your fan base is interested in is you being a champion. Because for them to be like, man, it's too expensive. He ain't trying to unify. He don't want to pay for the belts. They will be complete hypocrites. They will be complete hypocrites. Then has the audacity after missing weight, sitting in the stands, gobbling popcorn like he's high with the munchies 100. And so, it's one of those things like, how like a child to get in trouble and then they be like, shit, I'm already in trouble. I don't care. And they just keep doing stuff and keep doing stuff and keep doing stuff. Like you just can't go sit in the stands, cheer for your brothers. You got to be seen. And that's what people having a problem with. They want to be like, hey, man, you can't even eat popcorn. People gonna say something. And it's like, guys, we gotta look at the totality of the situation. We gotta look at the totality of the situation. Says you've been watching boxing 60 years, right? Are you talking to Mr. Shelton? Shout out to Teach. He says, hey, 2 cents. It's okay to give criticism. So you think we roasted Tank because of hair grease? Fair is fair. I mean, y'all did rotate because of hair grease, but again, that was people overreacting. It wasn't that serious because I think it's funny that now we can bring up all of these different examples of things that's happened. Oh, this fighter broke this fighter jaw. This fighter did this. This fighter did that. But when we were trying to give examples of referees making bad calls and things happening, nobody was trying to hear that. Nobody was trying to hear that. I didn't overreact then, and I'm not about to overreact now. But I am going to point out the fact that people are disappointed. People looking to you. You finna be the next star. You finna be the next this. People like to see that. People like to see a fighter come up and rise. Of course, they're going to tear you down when you get to the top, but they like to support you up and to come into the rise. And then you got your brothers with you. That shit was dope. People respected that. You in your hometown, and then you miss weight, get the event canceled. And then you acting a fool backstage. You gonna go in the dude's locker room and headbutt him when all his guard is down because he thinking you about to come congratulate him. I don't know where y'all from, but that's some whole ass shit. I don't know where y'all from, but where I'm from, we call that some whole ass shit. There's no excuse for that. I don't care what your side of the story. You don't got no side. What's your side of the story? You was mad because your brother lost? What? How old are we? You've been fighting your whole life. You an Olympian. And you so mad your brother lost, you got to go headbutt a nigga? Like, yeah, I got to stop this. Chris Willis say people today lack accountability. They're gonna act like Keyshawn ain't doing himself and any fighter in his position a disservice. They don't want you to acknowledge the issue here. That's the issue. And that's what I'm trying to say. Y'all keep trying to be like, oh, well, Tank hit a pregnant lady. And Tank should be held accountable. Nobody made excuses for him. Nobody said, oh, he make mistakes. He's young. And I get it. He do make mistakes, nigga. But there's consequences for your mistake. If you got to go to jail and you messed up your career, you got to go to jail and you messed up your career. But people keep wanting to label this as a mistake. It's not a mistake. He didn't mistakenly miss weight. I believe he did that shit on purpose, y'all. He was damn near 5 pounds overweight. You don't know the day before you're not gonna make weight, y'all. You don't wake up the day before the fight and be like, damn, I might not make the weight. I'm gonna be up all night and all morning trying to make weight, like he said. That's crap. Let me drop this link real quick. And people are disappointed. And then you got your brother crashing out with you. You got one brother telling you to chill, and then you got your other brother crashing out with you. I just don't. And then the fact that it was premeditated, y'all. A lot of the examples that y'all give about these fighters doing things to other fighters, and I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying it's in a moment. Like they just, it's like a nigga moment. You said what my mom, you know what I'm saying? It's like what? Boom, we in the moment. But you premeditated that. You thought about that. You was in the crowd like, hey, this nigga beat up my brother. Or he probably was sitting. He probably was sitting in the crowd next to his brother, like, man, this nigga beat up my brother. This nigga won the fight. He looked at his brother. He was like, let's go, man, let's go. They got up. They start walking to the back. They pacing back and forth in the hallway. Man, this nigga beat up my brother. You know how people do their hands when they mad and got their shoulders up, be playing this. Man, this nigga beat up my brother. Wait till he get in the locker room. I'm gonna go in there and headbutt this nigga. Like, what? How does that even work? Big. Shout out Shelton Moore whenever he get his mic. Rich, what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Man, I'm just here, man. I basically still say Keyshawn is a clown, for doing all that shit. I want to touch back on yesterday when I was talking to the 2 guys who lied on Keyshawn and said that they jumped that boy, which they didn't. I would like to see Keyshawn go up there and fight him, so it could be a little bit exciting, you know what I'm saying, bring it back. I think that's the only way he's going to get his name back for real is fighting him. Or maybe fight Frank Martin or one of them, but he got to do something about it. We talking about Abdulah Mason?
Yeah, go ahead.
Abdulah Mason, man, he like that, man. He's showing from what I seen, man, my eye test, man, he really showing that he's like that, man. He a next great, man. That's all I wanted to say. That'd be a good fight with Keyshawn.
We got 75 people watching. Y'all make sure y'all punch that like and subscribe button. I need 100 likes before I get off of here today. Let me ask you this, Rich. What do you think about people saying he don't have no personality? That's one of the biggest criticisms I hear about him right now.
I think the way he is, the way him and his family roll, man, put them niggas in some suits or man, they like the Fruit of Islam, Nation of Islam and all that. I like that. That's personality right there. That speaks itself. Like just their demeanor. That's personality itself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of good to be mysterious because people want. That's why Tank for real is who he is because he ain't really right now. Like people want to see him do stuff. So when he do stuff, it's a lot of attention. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna become a time where it's gonna be like that with Abdullah. You know what I'm saying? Like Tank right now, he'll do an interview today or tomorrow. It's gonna go up because he not really all trying to do interviews and you get what I'm trying to say? Like he ain't all in the spotlight. He ain't trying to have that attention. So I feel like that's good that he like that. He don't want to keep putting himself out there, and be like Keyshawn. You know what I'm saying? He putting himself out there, then you know you gonna give the world more shit to criticize you on. So it's good that he like that. You know what I'm saying? So
All right.
I
Big
respect that nigga. I respect him 100%. Yeah.
Big Supreme, what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
My 2 cents on the whole situation with Keyshawn. I said it last night, and I feel like as far as the fight and the brawling, like I honestly really don't care. Like I had time to sit down and digest it. I think the only things that I have a problem with, his son being there in the midst of it, that was a very bad look. So I agree with Tim Bradley on that. Also, like I said, I was watching the behind the scenes camp footage, and Keyshawn mentioned that I guess he got a $5 million grant from the state of Virginia to build like a gym. So I'm sure they probably regretting that right now. So I think that's a bad look as well. And he had the mayor on there talking about him and saying that he's a good kid and he represents the city of Virginia or the state of Virginia and stuff like that. So I just felt like with all these people giving their overwhelming support and for him to do that and the way he carried it, as far as like he didn't care, he's in the crowd, you know, he's eating popcorn and playing with fans and stuff like that. He just looked like he could care less. I felt like that to me was worse than him getting into a fight with Albright. Because you got to think, boxing is a violent sport. It averages the most deaths at any sport, really. And there's a lot of testosterone in the ring. And they met at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And I felt like Keyshawn had a fight with Albright already, and they had words before. So I'm sure there's something there. And I don't really have a problem with the fight. I just like those points I like, you know, laid out. Those are the points that I feel like shouldn't have happened. Like his son should have been protected. His wife or his girlfriend shouldn't have been in the melee. Not a good look. And he basically made the mayor look bad because now we know how they look at us as young black men from these impoverished cities, and for him to get entrusted to get that kind of $5 million endowment, and for him to look crazy like a week later, it's like damn, like we can't even do nothing good for the community. So I feel like he probably set back a lot of young up and coming boxers or athletes in Virginia because we know that Mike Vick had the situation with the dogs. AI had the situation with the chair when he went to jail. So this looked like Virginia dudes is on some wild shit. And I feel like Keyshawn represented something different at first, you know? He was a silver medalist. His best friend was Shakur, and he looked at like he was all-American kid. I didn't even think Keyshawn was into that type of stuff. But now I know, though. So I feel like he got to do a better job of representing himself in public. And I don't even think he, like, expressed any, like, real guilt. I seen an interview with Keon, and they said, how do you feel about people talking about your brother? And Keon said, fuck him. I don't give a fuck what they
Yeah, I
think.
was gonna bring that up. I was about to show that.
So I was like, damn, like they showing that. Basically, to me, where I feel like they messed up at, they lifted the veil on themselves. Like at first we thinking, damn, Keyshawn's a good kid. He's a silver medalist. He's this, he's that. Now we seeing, damn, this dude's talking about smoking crack. He's testing positive for marijuana. He's getting into fights. It's like, damn, this dude's not who we thought he was. And I feel like that's the problem. That's my two cents.
Oh damn, what's so funny?
Nah, cause he keeps saying that shit.
That nigga said he sold crack.
It ain't nothing funny. It's gospel truth. The nigga showed you who he is. You
That's
need
what
to
I'm
believe
saying.
it.
That's Shelton talking?
You need to believe him.
Yeah.
Just believe
Yeah,
him.
that's what I'm saying,
His
Shelton. Not to
sponsor,
cut you off, OG,
believe
but
this. But
that's what
believe
I
this.
mean,
His
right? We
sponsors are
really
definitely
believed in
gonna
the
believe
hype
it.
that
Yeah,
he was a
nah,
good
nah, nah.
kid,
I
and now
it's
we
just,
see this nigga's a gang member.
Yeah. Hey, if he not, that's even worse. If he not like that, that's
And you
even
can
worse.
mark
Hold on,
my
Mr.
words,
Greg,
2
Mr.
cents.
Greg, what you
His
saying?
sponsors are definitely gonna believe him. His sponsors are definitely gonna believe him.
hey, Supreme, man, that's gonna be a vicious documentary later on, man.
Yo, your man looking like
they,
Aaron Hernandez out there, bro.
they preparing
Who
for
not
that
Aaron
they
Hernandez? Stop it,
they
Mr. Greg.
preparing for that they preparing for that documentary money. They already preparing. Next thing you know, they gonna say he was shooting niggas and all
I ain't getting none of that. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking
Yo, you
about.
know
He ain't
what's
getting
funny?
none of that. His ass might
Not,
be at the EPT office in a minute.
yo, not to be funny, not to get on my hacker time
Oh
and
shit.
hog up the spotlight and all that. But I don't know if y'all remember when Mayweather went through that phase where he started hanging out with rappers. He started getting into fights.
Yeah, he was Richie Rich Records, some shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He started
Something like
rapping,
that.
and I remember Dan Redfield had an interview, and he was like, "Yo," like he looked at Floyd weird because here's this kid who's an Olympic medalist. He comes from a boxing family. He has a nice smile. He's handsome, clean cut, and then next thing you know, this nigga's rapping in videos with hoes and getting in the fight with the club. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I feel like Keyshawn's having that streak right now.
It's crazy, man.
And it's funny. It seems to me like, why these young guys want money and then act like they in the streets? Like, don't they know people get money to get out of the streets? Why do you want to get money and then be more in the streets? Like this
Man, you
ass
know,
backwards. It don't make no sense.
Because that's what he saw growing up. Look at the TV. Look at the music. Look at everything that they put on these kids on social media. That's what he sees. He's a kid. That's what he sees.
It's okay to.
Man, that man is 26 years old. Y'all stop saying he a kid.
Hey, but look,
Mr.
hey,
Greg, what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show, Mr. Greg?
Oh yeah. First of all, this is what I said earlier about them being undisciplined. He doesn't realize this is a little bit of a different time because you can see everything that they're doing almost instantly, and people instantly will respond to it. Now, to me, him not making weight at this particular time with this particular fight, you get ready to fight, you're supposed to be fighting. This is really what's supposed to have been a showcase fight for him to some degree. He's getting ready to fight a guy who hadn't even been in the ring for a while, at least a year, who also had a medical condition. So it was a gimme, and he still purposely doesn't make weight, and his attitude about it was just, F it. He was unprofessional. He was unconcerned. He didn't see the bigger picture. Then he add insult to injury. He goes to the dressing room, headbutts a guy. Now, you don't know what you're going to do to somebody when you headbutt them. You could break their nose. You could blind them. You could seriously injure them in an act of whatever it was, an act of passion, an act of aggression. And then you just, once again, don't care anything about it. Now, what will happen, I think, will be based on whether top rank values him enough to let this go or just not punish him too well. He should be punished, actually, but it depends on the people behind him and how much money has already been spent getting him to the point where he was that he just kind of threw away for a moment.
Yeah,
you got to understand that. I mean, and then, of course, you had your own city. You had your mayor wanted to shine with you. You had children watching you. You were supposed to be an example, even if you don't know how to be one yet. All you have to do is shut up and don't do anything stupid. Right. And he didn't do any of that. So we have to see how valuable he is to the powers that be, if they punish him. If the guy who he headbutted decides to go and file charges, or they sue, or the managers get together and try to pay it off with some money or something. But for you to cause all that kind of a ruckus in a weekend when you're supposed to have been the main event, when you're supposed to be shining, where they're supposed to see your trajectory going further up, what they see, as you just said, you're revealing yourself that you're not prepared for that responsibility to be the kind of person that you should be. You're not ready for the image. You're not ready for the big lights because you're doing everything that hurts you. As far as the stuff that these younger guys doing now, the whole gangster, thug, all of those, that imagery has been promoted to them, has been marketed to them probably most of their lives. So they have embraced it because they see a lot of these guys who really was in that street life get some benefits. Not just from the street, but they get a record deal. People shout their names out, and it's making them feel like this is what I really should be for me to be seen as authentic. And they make these stupid mistakes. All that he did this weekend was incredibly immature, and it was stupid. And so, what he's going to pay for it is still yet to be determined. Hopefully, they sit him down. They're going to have to sit him down hard. And maybe he'll come back and realize, hey, I was just about getting ready to get there. And here I'm going to have to polish my image a little bit. I'm gonna have to say sorry to some people, and I have to mean it, and then I'll have to show it. So that's where I think is happening to him, and it was just bad. I like what Rich said. Supreme said about Abdulah Mason. That's exactly how I see him as well. I think Rich said it as well. I think he's very disciplined so far. I think the way he conducted himself, with how he talked for the time that he had, was just what you want to see, not just as a fighter, but you know how young black men are always shown, and you see what's happening to them out in these streets as well. So you always like to have somebody who's going in a direction that you can look at and you can shake your head in admiration for. And I hope that continues with him, not just how he performed at the fight, but I hope that continues to be part of who he is as he grows into this sport. And I like the way he was fighting.
All right. Paid in full. What's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
What's going on? I don't disagree with nobody that up here today. Everybody had valid points. I think most important, they're gonna have to go and sit in front of the commission and actually explain pretty much what took place. I think Top Rank pretty much pissed about that because Bob spoke about it. He spent a lot of money on that event, and for Keyshawn, you know what I'm saying, with all these antics and shit that he got going on, it's not really a good look. I don't know if they might not give him a second chance because obviously we don't really too much get second chances like that, especially with stuff like that. I never just seen a weekend of something like that just spiral out of control after day after day after day. And it's kind of bad. It's a bad look. And then on top of that, you put your child in danger as well with your antics. And yeah, that's gonna be kind of a hard situation to come back from. I ain't gonna say it's impossible, but how we looked at it in the boxing game right now, we always gotta say it's a lot of racist shit that happens in boxes, and we always get the short end of the stick. So, with that being said, that's pretty much he gonna have to he gonna have to do some self. I wonder if it's more so his mental health, but I ain't gonna give him that excuse because he's a grown man. But yeah, bro, he got to do some self. He got to go through some stuff for real to get back to where he's supposed to be for real. So that's all I got to say about that.
Hey, Paige,
All right.
You said something interesting about the mental health. If I could say this real quick before you. If y'all remember what happened to Riddick Bowe, I think somebody already said about him punching out Larry Donald at the press conference. If you look at what happened to Riddick Bowe after that particular moment, remember he kidnapped his whole family,
Facts.
and stuff like that. There was a breakdown that was happening with Riddick Bowe even before then, because earlier, even before he got to that point with Larry Donald, there was an incident in the ring with Riddick Bowe, and he was fighting, and Rock Newman jumped in the ring and choked the guy while they was fighting, and Riddick kicked. It was crazy. But
pandemonium.
Yeah, I say that to say there was a trajectory where he was breaking down to the point that he kidnaps his family and all that kind of stuff. The other one was James Butler. You remember what he did?
Yeah, he killed Max Kellerman's brother.
He killed Max Kellerman, but before then, remember he knocked out Richard Grant after the fight was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes and there's one other guy who beat B-Hop. Oh, good Lord, what was his name? Young dude that beat B-Hop, took his belts from him in two fights.
Jermaine Taylor.
He broke down psychologically as well. And all.
What about Iabuchi?
Iabuchi. A lot of these fighters aren't pieced together well mentally, and sometimes the fight game helps them until it starts hurting them.
Hey, Greg, and they get hit in the head after they already have mental health issues.
Absolutely.
They've been getting hit in the head.
And Keyshawn got like 300 amateur fights too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So all of those things, and I don't want to make excuses.
So he got CTE?
It could be. But the bottom line is your people around you, need to be paying attention to you how your mental health is, because sometimes you can make little
Now I
small
know we
mistakes.
joking. My fault, Greg. I know we joking 2 cents, but he did say he was gonna commit suicide, and Shakur talked him out of that. So that's the
Yeah,
Yeah,
difference.
that's PTE. That's called
Yeah,
PTE
he said he
symptoms.
was.
That's
He
what
Being
I'm
said he
saying.
was.
So
violent,
like,
crashing out.
you have to
Greg hitting on some real key points.
yeah, you have to pay attention to them, because you got to look at where they coming from, what kind of conditions they came up under. You got to look at how they've been fighting, how many times, how many punches they're taking. Little small things are the red flags, and your people around you. That's why you got to have people who care about you, not people who just want to hurry up and get some shine from you, get some money from you. Because this incident, from what I see, is a huge red flag that they need to sit this child, I'm sorry, this boy down and find out what's going on in his head before they let him get in the ring.
Hey, hold on real quick though. Another thing I think that's crazy about everything is all this stuff happened in his hometown.
Mhm.
They should just not let him fight over there or do nothing over there until he really get his mind straight. Cause that's when he really starts showing out too. He
Yep.
starts showing out too as soon as he get around his hometown, all his people and all that shit. That shit, probably gave him a little more ego or whatever. I don't know, but a lot of this shit happened out there, so
Yeah.
Rank definitely needed to deal with him. Say, nah, nigga, you ain't fighting over there no more. Take your ass to Cali, Mexico, somewhere and fight. We gonna
All
have
right,
the
not
fights
to be
over there.
funny, it's gonna sound funny, right? So Bomac is a great trainer. He has a good stable. Hold
Right.
on, hold on.
All right, go ahead, Teach. Give your 2 cents. What you got for the show?
Go ahead, Teach. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Teach.
All right. Salute to you too, son. Salute Rich. Salute Big
What's
Supreme.
up, home?
Salute Paid in Full. Salute Mr. Greg. And salute Maxim Hacker. Is my audio okay?
Got some feedback, as it sound like.
Yeah, you got some feedback.
It's like feedback, a little echo, but go
Is that
ahead.
is that me or somebody else?
It's you.
All right. What I wanted to say was, I mean, so we know that things like this happen in boxing, right? But again, not every heated confrontation in boxing, should be treated the same, right? Because context matter. Some moments it might be, in the heat of the moment, like the sport's intensity, right? Or while some others are like, unprofessional. Example, what happened to Keyshawn? That was like in, an unprofessional territory right there. So it's kind of important to look at the, timing, maybe the intent and the behavior of all these incidents before we just everything as equal, because it's not. And to get back to what I said about 2 cents in the comments. I mean, whatever criticism you have about this whole situation, to me, it's just warranted. I mean, at this point, you could just say what you want to say, get everything off your chest without me having an issue, because you won't get any pushback from me. Some people are saying like a brief suspension would be fair. I mean, not to end his career, but to set like a line somewhere. If you're not scheduled to fight, like you shouldn't be putting your hands on people backstage, right? Like what him and his brother did. Especially after coming in like 4 pounds like overweight. I mean, it wouldn't just punish him, but it would kind of preserve the professionalism of the sport pretty much. So I mean, I have no issues with whatever criticism you want to give. With that said, top Keyshawn is one of Top Rank's, guys. I think they're gonna have some sort of comeback story for him. Maybe, they make like a documentary of what went on and turn it into like a sob story for his next fight. But at the same time, they could do all that, right? But at this point, Keyshawn kind of lost some fans, and we don't know if those fans are, gonna come back. So we'll see what it is. I mean, Top Rank could try and do something, but at the end of the day, if the fans are not there, it's just not gonna work. So we'll see.
Hey, what about so what about the brothers? think Top Rank just gonna let them go? Cause they
No,
ain't
no,
even.
hold on. Let me respond to Teach real quick. Teach, that's what I'm saying. Like my criticism is the criticism I'm giving. I'm not about to go all overboard because you know what I'm saying. Like I'm just not gonna do that. There's no need to overreact to the situation. Just be logical and fair. And I'm gonna be like that in every situation.
Yeah, facts.
Man, I'm gonna hurt
Boxing
some
Hacker,
feelings,
what's your
right?
2 cents?
Yo,
Let me let Boxing Hacker get his
Oh
two
yeah,
cents and then
I'm
get
about to get in
Supreme.
my bag. Just for
You can hurt them
GM.
feelings. You can hurt them feelings. Go ahead,
Just
Boxing
for you,
Hacker.
GM.
yo, what's up, 2 Cent? What's up? Hey, you
What's
know
up,
when
Holmes?
it comes
What's up?
to
What's
the
up, man?
what's up? Hey, what's up, Rich and Supreme and Greg and
Hey, what's
Peyton.
going on?
Hey, you know what? When you talk about like mental health, Tio also spoke on that too. And one thing I remember about Tio, I don't know if y'all remember, like Tio and Rolly used to be like really close friends, right? Just like sort of how Shakur and Keyshawn were. And I remember Rolly when they actually had their split. Rolly was like, "Well, I was helping him get through his suicide issues, this and that." Tio has always had mental health issues. And it sort of drives a parallel because we don't really see what Shakur, we don't see Shakur as close to Keyshawn this time around. I don't know if they have like conversations like backstage or maybe just Shakur just focus on his training camp, but it seems like I don't know, they don't seem as close. I would expected to see like Shakur at the fights yesterday.
They
You know,
broke up. Remember, he said him and Richardson should get married.
Nah, that's not
Yeah.
true though. Cause
And then
before he had the interview, before he had the fight, before he went out there, man, he had an interview talking about Shakur. He had two
Yeah.
different interviews with Andre Ward and Cigar Talk.
Okay, so I mean, as long as they're in good standing, that's good. But yeah, I definitely do think
no,
it
because
could be
what's his name was
partially.
also he was only posting about his brother. He wasn't even posting about he was posting about Calvin having a fight. Shakur didn't post nothing about
Yeah, because Keyshawn had a bad weekend
Keyshawn.
though. That makes sense, right? How would you praise somebody? Because you can't praise him for not fighting, right? And
But he
Shakur's
could
not
at
the
least
type
said
to
keep
like
your head up,
criticize
bro.
him.
You would be all right.
Man, he probably said all
But
that.
that's the shit you tell. That's what you tell your boy in backstage, though.
Yeah, because Andre Ward,
Yeah.
when he was talking to Andre Ward, he said Shakur was just at my house.
But we
Yeah.
don't know when
Like,
the interview was though.
Yeah,
that
that's
shit was
something.
that
That's
shit was
something like you tell. Like some things you don't need to put on
I'm
Twitter.
telling you, they broke up. He said the other two niggas should get married.
nah. This
What
is
does that
way
sound like to
Nah, I don't
y'all?
know. I don't know
this
about.
is way
What does that
I
sound
after.
think
like
him and
to y'all?
Richardson were just going through that
That
shit.
sounded like
Yeah,
he was jealous.
yeah,
But
that's what it sounded
I
like too
mean,
to me. That's what I thought when I first seen it too. I was like, man, this nigga.
at the end
When
of the day,
do
like,
men get jealous of other men's friendships to the point where they be like, they should get married?
well, so like Richardson Hitches is sort of his
Why is
ops,
that
right?
even in your consciousness, bro?
Because
Y'all,
Richardson Hitches is ops a little bit. They have a little bit of a beef.
Why
they
you
got
think they
more
got a
than a
beef?
little
They've
bit
been
beef.
fighting over Shakur.
No, they didn't even have no
They
beef. To be
no,
honest,
no, they're not.
Keyshawn jumped
They
up in
ain't
that
fighting
shit and
over
he ain't had nothing to
Shakur,
do
man.
with it.
I think they have this, like, I don't know if it's competitive beef, but I
Man,
thought
Richard
some
Hitchens
similar to
just
Man,
called
sparring
that nigga.
shit.
Richard Hitchens just called that man all types of bitches just now.
Yeah,
Matter of fact,
I think that's good because
yeah, he
that
just
means
said all
Man,
the
them
Eddie.
niggas got
Eddie
the
yeah,
told him.
cause
that's actually a
cause
good thing because
Keyshawn
he can
stuck his
fight any for
nose
a fight with
into
Richardson.
cause
If they
Nah,
can
Keyshawn stuck his
sell it,
nose into some shit
they,
that ain't
they can
had nothing to
probably
do
push
with
that
him.
fight.
Hold on, y'all. Let me get this super chat. Shout out to Planet 619 with the 499 in the super chat. He says Mr. Greg is low key making the case that Keyshawn should probably be away from the sport more than a year. The suggested punishment.
I don't know
Just
about that.
saying. Shout out Planet 619.
That
So
sounds really bad.
let me ask about this. Box Hacker, you finished?
No, also when it comes to that, like I said, when it
You
comes
know
to the
he
whole,
not finished.
yeah, I mean, you all keep jumping in. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we're gonna let Boxing Hacker finish.
Now, when it comes to the whole like penalty thing, like I said, there's still conflicting stories out there, so I wouldn't be too quick to say how he should be penalized. He missed weight, and he already got penalized for that. So there's no need to penalize him again. He's already out of money. He missed his show and all that. For the situation, like I said,
What?
yeah,
There is
yeah.
need to penalize you again if you did something else. But go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, there's still like conflicting stories about what happened. There's stories that his brother swung first, and all sorts of stuff happening. At the end of the day, these are young guys. Young guys. And I don't know how many of y'all been to boxing events, either amateur or pro. Shit like that happens all the time. So like,
hopefully, like they'll be able to figure that shit out and still bounce back.
Man,
Focus
hell
on
no,
this.
that's a grown ass man, bro. At the end of the day, what he did was assault and battery, regardless of the situation, bro. He wasn't in no ring fighting. That's assault and battery, bro. I don't think he gonna take it that far, but for real, that is assault and battery, though.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, yeah. If it's out, if it pans out that way, I think they can definitely take it that way if they want. But it looks like they want to fight though, so hopefully, I think Keyshawn should keep it that way. Like if especially if Hitchison's calling him out and Albright's calling him out, yeah, make him fight one of those two as soon as possible. I think that will put him if he can make a fight and get a W on that fight, that'll put him back on track.
All right. Supreme, you say you're gonna hurt some feelings?
That
Shout
when
out
Caleb
manager
playing smack my
Marty
man
on the
Charlo, man.
Oh
panel.
man, we need answers.
Where that energy was at when playing smack Charlo, man?
What energy?
Where was the
This
energy at?
this is a
Charlo was on
different.
interviews crying, talking about mental health. We got videos of him fighting with his wife. Like, look, nobody cared. They egged it on. Now,
The
Albright get
context is
kicked in his
different,
head.
Mr.
It's
Green.
the end of the world.
Yeah,
The
but Player
context is
Charlo weren't
different,
fighting that
Mr.
night
Green.
though. They weren't fighting.
Nah,
They
I'm
were
just
just
joking. I'm just
yeah, they
joking.
were just
But I wanted
arguing.
to say that I don't think that before manager Marty Cook, I don't think that Mason is ready. Now I know everybody's gonna probably disagree, and this is just as crucial content, right? Now, when Shakur fought Nakathila, he didn't really look too good. So I know that he got an awkward style. He's heavy-handed. But then he went on, he fought Muratala. He stopped him in 2 rounds. Then he fought Tito Mercado. He stopped him in 2 rounds. So him fighting Nakathila last night, I don't think he looked at like the Mason that we've come to know. He was kind of hesitant. He was apprehensive. Yes, Nakathila has power. I get that. But his legs ain't there. He's been knocked out a bunch of times. He's a little
Big,
older. I feel
big,
like
big, big Supreme. I think he was more patient more than anything. This
no,
fight,
I
than
get,
he
I
was
get
with
that he was
Kid.
patient, but I feel like
That's what I was about to say. I
no, I
I
get
think
that
I think
completely.
I
But
think
I
he
think he
could
should
I
have
think he
blasted
could
him
have let
away,
his
in my
hands
opinion.
go. I think he could have let his hands go a little bit more.
I
And
think he should
probably
have
would have
blasted him
probably would
away.
have got him
That's
out the
my,
way, but I think he wanted to be more patient. He was more wary of that
Man,
right
I,
hand.
Abdullah Mason,
Supreme, you
Abdullah
saw what
Mason
happened to
remind me of Boots.
Supreme.
Like all
You saw
bullshit.
what happened to Hooney, right, Supreme?
what happened to Haney?
You saw what happened to Hooney, didn't you?
Yeah, I told you that Hooney was gonna get knocked out. I told you that.
So Mason
Hold on, all
has
right.
to be patient.
We
Yeah,
got
but
a
we
new
getting
panelist.
sidetracked.
Shout out to manager Marty on the panel.
What's up, Double M?
What's going on, manager Marty? What is
Hey,
your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
what's going on? Salute to you, 2 Cents Boxing. Thank you for allowing me to join your panel. I appreciate the support. Salute to everybody on this panel, everybody in the live chat. Um, I did a live earlier. Obviously, most people know that. So I'm going to say something that I said earlier, and then I reiterated it on, Todd's channel earlier, and now I'm here. What I'm trying to figure out is how is it that Keyshawn Davis was more upset that his brother lost a fight more than he was that he lost money because he didn't get paid that night. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think
I think it's misplaced. I think it's misplaced.
I think all
What
that
I'm
shit add up though.
well, the thing is,
That's
when I'm
just added up.
well, what I'm getting at is there is no reason good enough for me for the way that he conducted himself in the locker room backstage.
Not at all.
There is none. None. Now, with that being said, the point that I really want to drive home is that there's an old adage in boxing, and everybody uses it, and everybody's been using it for decades. You're only as good as your last fight. Well, in Keyshawn Davis's last fight, he did a good job. But there's a new adage that I've been promoting on my platform, and I encourage others to jump on the train so that we all can be on the same page. And that is simply, you're only as good as your team. And I've been saying that for 2.5 years. The reason why I say that is if you look at Edwin De Los Santos' team and the decisions that they made when they were confronted with Keyshawn Davis missing weight, they did a tremendous job. Or else we will be having a totally different conversation. In comparison to Keyshawn Davis's team, somebody have a lot of feedback in their on their phone. Basically, what I'm getting at is, where is the accountability from Keyshawn Davis's team? Not just about what he did last night. It was all a continuation of what took place with him on the scale. I mean, his team, and I'm including Bomac, the trainer, they all knew last week. They all knew last week that the trajectory of where he was in his weight was completely off. No accountability there. In fact, I actually think it was a part of their strategy. Somebody got to mute their phone. Ill will.
That ain't me.
That was you, Will.
I got it.
So it's just a continuation. So I believe that was a part of their strategy, to come in just a little bit heavy and see if they can come in as heavy as possible so that he can miss weight in an effort to make an appeal to De Los Santos to take the fight and just receive a couple of extra dollars for it. In other words, is they banked on Edwin De Los Santos just agreeing to the terms because, Keyshawn Davis is the A side and he's home. But it backfired because Edwin De Los Santos has good representation. And as I always tell y'all, good representation in this business is priceless.
Let me respond to that real quick, Manager Martin, not to cut you off. Let me ask you this though, right? And I feel like that was a strategy they tried to use. However, it doesn't make sense to me, right? Because you said yourself you handpicked this opponent. He's coming off the layoffs. He's coming off the blood clots. He's coming off the injury. He's coming off the loss. And you, as the champion, felt like you needed to play this strategic game of you coming in as close as you can to not getting the fight canceled in order for them to take a couple extra dollars so you can come in overweight to give you an advantage, as if that would make you look any better. Like, I felt like if that was the strategy, that still was horrible and would give you scrutiny.
Well,
that was a terrible strategy.
May I finish?
Let me go out to Manager Marty real quick.
May I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason why I'm saying that, and the reason why it makes sense for that happening, it all goes into the character and lack of integrity of Keyshawn. Let me take it a step further. No one knew 24 hours before that Keyshawn Davis was going to miss weight. No one knew that. Why? Because Keyshawn Davis gaslighted the media and he gaslighted the boxing fans. In other words, is Bomac, the team, and of course Keyshawn, they all knew that they were going to miss weight. They knew that. Irregardless of what Keyshawn was saying leading up to the weigh-in. Because everything that we're talking about now is based on what Keyshawn Davis said out of his mouth. For example, he told Abdulah Mason, "Oh yeah, come on, Bob, set it up. Yeah, you can be next, Abdullah." He was really trying to intimidate Abdulah Mason, giving everybody the impression that once he won against De Los Santos, it's a possibility that he would still be at 135 to fight Abdulah Mason. But the whole time he knew that he was going to miss weight. In fact, he even admitted it after the fact when the interviewer asked him about it. And he said, "Well, I already knew, that this was going to be my last fight at 135. Anyway, I was going to go up to 140 after this fight." But the whole time he was screaming out Tank Davis's name. And everybody on this panel knows that Tank Davis is not 140 pounds as far as competition is concerned. So once again, we see a lot of these things happening where Keyshawn Davis is saying one thing, but his actions is saying another. And to my point about good representation, and you're only as good as your team, when you look at what took place last night with Keyshawn Davis, from the time that we saw him on camera last night eating popcorn and smiling, and there was no remorse. where was his team at to hold him accountable to make a public apology? Matter of fact, he could have apologized right after the weigh-in to his fans, to his promoter, to his parents, to his family, his brothers, the network, okay, who is definitely the ones who paid for Keyshawn Davis to be the main event. And I'm talking about ESPN. There were a lot of people that were owed a public apology, but Keyshawn Davis did not do that. In fact, if you go and look at his personality and his behavior patterns, even after that, he still never made a public apology, not once. Leading up to that,
I thought
he goes in the dressing room and he premeditated that. That was not an accident. He premeditated his actions because his brother lost. Very simple. He goes into the dressing room and assaults Nair Albright. Once again, premeditated. Where was the accountability from his team? And what I mean by that simply is this. I made this point earlier, and I'm going to do this here, and I promise you I'll park the school bus afterwards. As soon as that happened, as soon as it happened, there should have been accountability that took place. In fact, according to Wu, Nair Albright, he said in an interview that Terrence Crawford and Bo Mack came into his dressing room and they apologized to him, quote unquote, for the inconvenience. So what I'm saying is if Bo Mack, the trainer, had enough fortitude to go into the locker room of Nair to apologize on behalf of Keyshawn, he should have had enough fortitude as the older guy, as the more experienced guy in this business, and as the actual trainer, the person who is the authority after the fighter. And what he should have done as the OG is he should have went in that dressing room and he should have apologized on behalf of the camp, meaning everybody that's in Keyshawn Davis's training camp, the trainers, whether it be the cutmen, Keyshawn Davis, the actual camp, because he's the trainer, he is the chief second, and he is the one that is in control of the actual camp. So I believe that Bo Mack should have went in the dressing room to apologize just on behalf of the actual camp. Can't apologize on behalf of the city because he's not from nor does he reside in Virginia. The point that I'm making is that is not what happened. What he also should have done right after he apologized on behalf of the training camp, he should have told Nair Albright. He should have told Nair Albright's trainer. He should have told Nair Albright's promoters, who were all in the dressing room at the time that this happened, please don't move. Do not leave the arena just yet. I'll be right back. He should have went to Keyshawn Davis immediately, held that young man accountable, and told that young man, I'm escorting you back into the dressing room as the real man, and you're going to apologize to Nair Albright to his face. No fists are going to be thrown. Nobody's going to, attack you. Nobody's going to retaliate. I've already took care of that as the trainer. I already took care of that by speaking to his camp in advance. But what you're going to do before we leave this arena, before this young man leave this arena, I'm going to hold you accountable as the older statesman in this sport and in this business, and you are going to apologize to Nair Albright, face-to-face, man-to-man.
All right.
Now, because that did not happen, you would still expect Keyshawn Davis to come out and make a public apology, even if it wasn't in his face. He still haven't done that yet. So what I'm saying is all of these different things that Keyshawn Davis said leading up to the weigh-in, all he was doing was giving the media and giving everybody else what they wanted to hear because his actions did not match his words. And that's the lack of character and integrity. And for that, whatever the consequences may be, and we all can agree that there should be some form of consequences for his actions, whatever they're going to be, they are simply well-deserved.
Right. Hey, you know
He
one
did
thing.
apologize,
Wait,
though.
hey, hold
Hold
on.
on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. We got Big Dog Willie on the panel.
Dang.
Go ahead, Rich, and then Big Dog
Oh,
Willie.
hello. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That shit was ridiculous last night. I kind of forgot what I was about to say, so you
What
can
was
come back to me.
ridiculous?
Go ahead,
Hey,
Rich.
they hold. Hey, I just wanted to say this, right? I
Last
agree.
night. Hold on, hold on.
Oh, I
Who's
thought
Hold
you
who's
on,
said.
it's
cutting me
Rich.
off?
I
Hold
thought you
on, Big
said.
Dog Willie.
I thought you
You
said go
said
ahead.
go to somebody else.
Oh no, I said yeah. I said last night was ridiculous. But go ahead, go ahead. That's why I said.
Go ahead, Rich.
Oh man, my bad, Willie. Hey, what I was about to say, I agree with Marty on a lot of that stuff, but another, I feel like even though Bo Mac, an older gentleman, whatever, towards Keyshawn, he can't make him do what he want. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what happened. You don't know if he did try to make him do that. You don't even know if they was even around each other after all that stuff. So I can't really put that on Bo Mac when it
Well,
comes to
Bomac
stuff like.
apologized. That's the only reason why I'm saying it.
I'm
He
saying.
actually apologized
No,
for it.
I'm saying with Keyshawn, I'm saying you don't know where Keyshawn was at after that, or you know what I'm saying, or what was going on, because you know he in his hometown. It's 50, 60, 100 people he around, bunch of friends, family, and all that stuff. So you don't know what he did or what he could have did, and if Keyshawn would have responded back and would have listened to him. Second, I was gonna go back to 2 Cents when she asked that question. I'm starting to think he really did think De Los Santos was a problem, and I think Shakur probably told him like, yeah, you can't play around with him, and he knows Shakur know boxing. You know what I'm saying? So he probably really did think he was a problem. So that's why he did come in a little bit. He's like, I ain't about to drain myself and take a loss. I'd rather
That
come.
is
You know what
so
I'm
weak,
saying?
Rich. That is weak as hell, bro.
I
No, I'm
can't.
just.
I'm
I
ready
never said.
now.
I
I'm ready now. 2 Cent.
I never said it was something good. I never said it was
I
good.
mean, I just don't
I'm
even
just saying.
understand. Like, you're the champion. Like, why are you like,
Yeah.
why? That's not even a good strategy
I don't
He
think
because
that's
ain't
it's
what
built
not.
happened
like
though.
that. He ain't built like that. 2
No,
Cent.
I don't think that's what happened though. I think, when fighters are cutting weight, like it's a process.
Hold
Like
on, boxing hacker,
Hold on,
boxing hacker. Let me.
Let me let Big Dog Willie go. Go ahead, Big Dog Willie.
Okay, yeah. So one thing, I don't think he trained. I don't think he trained for this fight, Keyshawn, at all. I mean, he probably trained a little bit, but he didn't train hard. So I think that's number one. The reason why he came in overweight, he didn't give a fuck. He didn't train hard, and he automatically just probably thought that what's his name would just take the fight, could need the money. De Los Santos, that was fucked up. That was real fucked up. Um, so he didn't train, and then somebody probably said in his ear, "This dude can punch. He's quick," and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna come in overweight. Fuck it." Just kind of like Rich said, but yeah, I don't think he's ready for that fight, mentally and physically. Number two is Manager Marty. You can't put this on Bomac. You can't put this on Bomac. This is Bomac. I mean, good enough that Bomac came into the room and apologized to him personally, and Bud, because that's his. Those are his Bud, and that's their little buddies. That's their little brothers. That's what they call each other. So they came in personally. We don't know what the hell's going on with Keyshawn. Keyshawn's not mentally right now, and you see him missing weight. He felt some kind of way about that, and it was his own doing. But yeah, that shit built up on him. He was acting. He looked like he has like some kind of. He does have mental health issues, and that what it
Well,
looked like. Hold on. I'm almost done. And so I don't put that. He like Bomac didn't make him miss weight. Bomac didn't do that. That was Keyshawn that did that. And Keyshawn's
No,
like we have saying, he's a grown man. He's 26 years old. Like everybody been saying, he the one that made that mistake. It's not Bomac's fault.
well, what I
Yeah,
mean by that is Willie was basically this. You said I can't put something on Bomac. Well, Bomac put it on himself when he injected himself in this by going in the dressing room and apologizing. In other words, is no grown man, and I'm including his brother Kelvin, who made a statement on social media saying on behalf of the brothers, we apologize. See, that's unacceptable. Even what Bomac did is what I'm basically saying is nobody can apologize on behalf for grown men. I'm talking
mm,
about genuine grown men. I'm not talking about guys. I'm not talking about guys who are legally grown by the age of 21, 22. I'm
shout
talking
out
about at
Upper
this point.
Echelon.
I'm
yeah.
I'm saying Keyshawn Davis, his brain is fully developed. He's over 25 years old. Nobody should have to apologize on behalf of that grown man. Not his brothers, not Bomac. Bomac injected himself in this when he went into that man's dressing room and basically apologize. So what I'm saying is the alternative for that, if he felt like he was responsible as the trainer, it wasn't about him apologizing. He should have made himself aware of the situation to say, look, let me make an attempt to get this man, Keyshawn Davis, to come back and apologize for his actions. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, and I think this is the point that I'm really driving home, because you mentioned the fact that he can't make him make weight. Listen, the trainer has influence over a professional boxer, whether we agree with it, whether we like it or not. That is the reality of the dynamics between fighters and trainer. And if a trainer does not have enough influence over a professional boxer, then there's something wrong with that relationship. In other words, if Keyshawn Davis was in an actual fight and Bomac did not have enough influence over Keyshawn Davis to invoke him to perform at the level based on the instruction and motivation that he's giving him in the corner, it's a problem. So that same influence that trainer has while a fighter is in the corner during the rest period in between rounds is the same influence that typically transfers over in other areas of the fighter's lives when it comes to the professional sport of boxing. So that same influence should have been used to make an attempt not to apologize on behalf of that grown man, but to see how he, the trainer, can encourage this young man to do what is right and apologize to that man in person. Now, with that being said, that's the same influence that the trainer has when it comes to training camps. That's why the trainer is known as the chief second. The trainer is basically the boss in strategizing and training in training camps. So
The
nobody.
fighter is the boss.
No,
And
no,
the
no.
fighter do what
Listen to me.
It's
Listen.
and the
somebody
fighter does what he
Listen.
wants to
Hold up.
do.
Hold up. Hold up.
One
Jeff a
mic, one
funny
mic,
guy.
one mic,
Hold
one
up.
mic,
Show
Rich.
show show
Hold up.
Because you've
Hold up.
been
Everybody,
talking long
listen to
enough,
me.
man.
Everybody, please listen to
show
me.
Jeff comment.
Listen to me, please. I'm not saying the fighter is not the boss. I'm not talking about that. Hear me out. I said in a training camp, the trainer is the boss in the training camp. In other words, if the trainer say we gonna need you to run 3 miles today, the fighter saying, well, I'm only gonna run a half a mile today. Okay. And that's going to do what? Be a detriment to the fighter. I'm talking about in a training camp, in a 8 to 12 week, usually 8 to 10 week training camp. The trainer is the boss. That's what he gets paid for. So what I'm saying is, so what I'm saying is that everybody in that training camp knew last week. They knew this 2 weeks ago, but more so, they knew last week that the weight that Keyshawn Davis was at was going to cause him a problem on the weigh-in. How do we know that? Let's take Keyshawn Davis's words himself after the weigh-in. He said himself, I was up all night trying to make the weight. And then in the morning, I was up all morning trying to make the weight. So if he was up all night trying to make the weight, and if he was up all morning trying to make the weight, and he landed, the end result of those 2 attempts landed him 4.3 pounds over the weight limit, then my question becomes, well, how much did you actually weigh within 48 hours of the weigh-in? Apparently, it was more than 140 pounds. That's a problem in a training camp when you have 1 week left to go and you're more than 140 pounds. If he made 2 attempts, one at night, one in the morning, and it landed him at 139.3, then that means that he was much, much bigger. Much, much bigger.
Not necessarily though. So not
Yeah.
so it
Hold on,
depends.
Box Snapper. Hold on, Box
It
Snapper.
does.
Shout out.
Wait,
Hold
wait,
on, hold
no.
on.
It
Hold on, I
does
got a new
mean that.
panelist.
It does not mean
I
that
got a new
because it
Well,
depends how
panelist.
much
Shout
weight
out
water you
Box
got left.
Snapper. Hold on. Ill Will on the panel. What up, Ill Will? And I'm gonna respond to Manager Marty because I want to say something. Ill Will, can you hear me?
I'd like to respond, Sands.
Yeah, I want to respond as well.
Ill Will. Okay, we're gonna come back to Ill Will. Manager Marty, I wanted to say, oh, here we go. Shout out Apex the guy.
Shut up, beautiful.
I'm gonna respond to Manager Martin. I'm gonna let Apex the guy get his 2 cents off. But
Appreciate you.
I think what they're missing is Bomac and whatever that this was a strategy that they collectively agreed upon. A lot of people want to say, oh, well, Keyshawn just missed weight. He just missed the weight. No, what Manager Marty is trying to tell y'all, they been knew he wasn't going to make the weight. So the strategy wasn't to miss weight. It was to not be 5 pounds over so they can cancel the fight. And that's what he's trying to explain to y'all. And also, how can a person apologize on behalf of somebody else? And because people kept saying, well, Bomac and Bud went in there and apologized to him. Like, what did Bomac and Bud do? They didn't do anything to him. So it's like, what does that mean? Like, okay, Bud and Bomac went to apologize. So they not the ones that went in there and headbutted the nigga. They went in this man locker room and headbutted him, y'all. Like, I don't like, that's not acceptable in no form or fashion ever.
2 cents.
You
Can
know
I
what
just
I'm saying?
clarify something you said? So I just wanted just one point. It's not that I'm saying that they strategize, that Keyshawn Davis and I agree with you. Thank you for clarifying that, 2 cents. It was a collective agreement, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't just, hey, we just want to do this to cancel the fight. No, what it was is they underestimated the fact that De Los Santos wasn't going to go for what's standard in boxing. And what's standard in boxing is what Devin Haney did. And I'm not criticizing
Yeah.
Devin. What I'm basically saying is when a fighter on the A side comes in overweight, the B side has a decision to make. Either you're going to take the full amount that you're supposed to get paid as the B side and don't fight, or you're going to take the full amount that you were supposed to get paid and fight, but it's going to be more compensation, like a bonus. It's going to be more money that you're going to be able to collect on top of the original purse that you were going to get. If you decide to go into that ring and, be confronted with the risk of competing against the A side, who's going to be physically much bigger. That's basically the exchange. The promoter will give
I
you
think we
more.
understand that. I think we
Can I
understand
finish?
that.
Can I finish? Can I finish real quick? So
We're
what
gonna
I'm
let Manager
saying is,
Martin finish up and then Apex the guy go. Go
all
ahead,
right, thank
Manager
you.
Martin.
So what I'm saying is, they didn't do that so that they can just say we're just going to cancel the fight. No, they did that because they did not realize that De Los Santos' representation wasn't just going to go for, all right, we just going to let y'all, pay us a couple of dollars and then we still going to fight. Only because of this, they came in too heavy. If Keyshawn Davis would have missed weight by 2 pounds, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. The fight would have happened last night. But he's coming in well over 3 pounds. Matter of fact, he's almost 5 pounds. That is a major, major concern. So what I'm saying is, if Keyshawn Davis was supposed to be training the night before to miss weight, and then the next morning he was still trying to miss the weight again, and watch this, and this is why I'm saying this. The commission gives professional boxers a maximum of 2 hours after officially weighing in, 2 hours to actually make the weight if they miss the weight. So if they miss the weight, within 2 hours, you'll have enough time to come back and basically see if you can make the weight. So that's 3 different opportunities that Keyshawn Davis had, and he landed at 139.3. And that's the point that I'm really getting at.
Yeah.
Apex
Okay,
the
let
guy.
me say this real quick, bro. You say what? What'd you say? 2 cent.
So what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Shout out to the Queen 2 cent and her boxing thing, man. Y'all make sure y'all smash the like button. Y'all make sure y'all donate to the grind. People don't understand how hard it is to get up here and do shows like this. But this your boy Apex Upper Echelon. Let me go ahead and put this out here first off, right? I see a lot of people making excuses and everything right there, talking about, oh, Keyshawn was 6 pounds. First off, Keyshawn could have made the weight. I mean, I've been making weight since I was damn 6 years old. I'm well in my 40s. My son boxes as well. We've been boxers. Like I said, I'm Oliver McCall stablemate. But check this out, right? Keyshawn could have made the weight. What his camp did, they underestimated De Los Santos since he was out of the ring for 2 years and he had blood clots, and they didn't think he was gonna be able to get in shape like that. De Los Santos was in shape. He surprised me. And what I told people before, Keyshawn has never been in there with a puncher like this. And like I said, when Ryan Garcia, before he fought Devin Haney, I said that Ryan was going to destroy Devin because right now, people know them last couple pounds of of trying to make weight is the worst ones to get off because you're really dehydrating your muscle. And when you rehydrate, you can't control what you rehydrate back up. So some of your muscles will still be shot and everything. So you really don't know what you can and can't do right there. You feel what I'm saying? And just to throw this out there, De Los Santos and them knew what was going on, and they tried to put the rehydration on.
But your audio went off.
It went out.
I know, my bad. No, what I was saying is they already knew what it was, right? You can lose like Rachel's on there tell you can lose between 7 to 10 pounds in a night, but it's the dehydration right there. And they also was going to proceed with the fight. They was going to put Keyshawn Davis on the same thing he put on Gustavo Lemos, was going to make him carry that hydration only 2 more pounds up. And he said no, because people don't understand trying to carry that much weight right there. You're really dehydrating yourself, putting yourself at a disadvantage. What they wanted to do, they wanted to come in with their muscles fully energized, not having to break down all that damn weight, because he could have easily made that weight. He didn't try to make that weight. He already knew what it was. He tried to use the A-side privilege, give a couple dollars so he could have came in there at an advantage while De Los Santos had to bust his ass. I mean, my language, he had to bust his tail to get to that 135, how he had to struggle to get that extra pound. And so Keyshawn didn't want to take a back seat by taking the rehydration that they was giving him, because he was given the exact same thing they gave Gustavo Lemos. When people say Gustavo Lemos wasn't weight drained, he was. And Keyshawn and them understood that, because they was not about to sit there and sit at 143 to the next day. They wasn't trying to do that. And another thing, you can't apologize for a grown-ass man. I'm sorry. If I go out there and cheat on my wife, if I go cheat on my wife, my brother can't go say, well, I'm sorry he did that to you. No, we all grown men, we all accountable. We all sitting there to do that. And I told all y'all before, now here Albright was gonna, did I not sit there? I said, now here Albright was gonna whoop Kelvin. I told y'all Kelvin ain't nothing. I sat there and told y'all he gave Keyshawn everything he can handle in Texas. Y'all forget that. He sat there and he basically gave Keyshawn boots to ass, but they called it no contest. And I knew Kelvin had no chance about that. And them boys right there, they're very emotional. They're very emotional. They live off emotional. Keyshawn talking about Tank been tricking the game for too long. No, Keyshawn, you've been tricking the game. You've been bringing people down. The same thing you said about Tank. You always fight in Norfolk, Virginia, where you know they have a 10-pound rehydration clause. That's why you always hold your big fights there, because you know, and people don't understand, next day weigh in. Yeah, IBF does that. But after that weigh-in, you can still blow up. And with the consistency of Keyshawn's body, he can always blow up bigger than his opponents. Because even though he do the next day weight, he's a much bigger fighter. He's a 147-pound fighter. The man is a big guy. And see, De Los Santos was there. They knew that they couldn't beat him on a fair scale. The same way when Ryan fought Devin, Ryan came in with an advantage, but Devin had to bust to get that extra pound. Ryan still kept his body right there hydrated to a certain extent. And that's the way a lot of fighters get off like that. But when you're the B-side, usually you have to take the scraps. Like, you remember when Stanionis fought Virgil, was supposed to fight Virgil Ortiz. He went through 2 training camps and didn't get a fight. And see, De Los Santos, shout out to his management team, because if they didn't fight for it, he would have walked away with nothing if he didn't accept the terms. But for the fact that Keyshawn and them wouldn't accept the rehydration that they was trying to put on him, that made it where he had to forfeit and give Edwin De Los Santos his $400K. And Edwin De Los Santos, the funny thing, he got $400K for nothing. For training camp. But Edwin De Los Santos, they was banking on him wanting to be a fighter, him going out there and wanting to put on a show. But why should he do that? Go in the fight, disadvantage. And then if he loses to Keyshawn Davis, basically his career is done. He done lost to my boy William Foster III. He lost to Shakur Stevenson. He's coming back with another title shot. Now, at least this way, him and Abdulah Mason or him and Sam Noakes can fight for the vacant WBO title. But if he fought Keyshawn and he loses, then he loses his spot. He drops back to the back of the line and nobody gets the belt. So they did a smart move right there. See, they try to bet on a lot of people not thinking and just being like, well, I'm a warrior. I don't put in this training camp. But no, don't put yourself at a disadvantage. When Manny Pacquiao didn't want to take them daggone shots, Floyd didn't fight him. I don't care how great you is, never put yourself at a disadvantage. And Edwin De Los Santos and them, they showed up, showed out, and Keyshawn and them thought they was going to trick the game. because they've been doing it for too long with the Pedraza, the Limos. They didn't get a chance to trick today.
All right, all right.
And
Will come back so you can get your 2 cents off. Go ahead, Manager Marty.
Yeah, before Manager Marty starts real quick, right? So when it comes to this whole thing about how much they premeditated the whole like
boxing hackers.
No, hold on,
Boxing
man.
hackers.
Hold on 1 second.
2 Cents Boxing is the host of this
she just
show.
said Marty, Manager Marty.
Let me go, man. Let him go ahead, Manager Marty.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this: Apex, thank you for clarifying everything that I've been basically trying to say, and basically, like I've been saying all day today, and Apex put it out there, is that the B side typically, and Apex knows this, the B side usually just be like, oh, all right, if that's the little extra couple dollars y'all gonna give me to fight, all right, cool. At least, even though the A side just missed weight, at least if I do win, even though I'm at a crazy disadvantage, at least I'll be a champion. And they was banking on that. But once again, good representation in this business is priceless. And if De Los Santos, and I said this on my podcast this morning, if De Los Santos did not have representation, most likely this fight would have happened. But because he had good representation, and they realized basically Keyshawn and them was trying to get them to be tricked out of their spot. And at the end of the day, not going to happen. And I just want to clarify something so that we all can be on the same page. If the A side misses weight in any fight, and this is, y'all can take this to the bank and cash it. If the A side misses weight and the B side make the weight, it is customary standard in boxing that the B side will be fully compensated their purse even without fighting. I just want everybody to be clear on that.
All right.
All right, let me get this super chat real quick. Shout out to Isaiah WYD with the $2 in the super chat. He says, hacker saying the most, trying to justify key behavior. Shout out, Isaiah.
I'm just saying, I think you're over exaggerating, right? Like this whole idea
What you
that
got for the show? Hold on, Boxing Hacker. Ill Will, what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Dang.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So my whole thing on this is, if Keyshawn came in at weight, he was going to be drained, and he was going to have tight legs, and he was going to lose power. That's going to
That was the contracted weight,
at a
though.
beating. But I get that. But what I'm saying is, it's going to put him at a loss against De Los Santos. Now, even if he does beat De Los Santos, he still loses because everyone's attacking Shakur, and they're going to be like, "Damn, Shakur with one hand put on a better performance than he did." So it's a lose-lose for Keyshawn anyway. So what he did was he came in overweight. So just like Marty said, Marty's 100% right. 2 weeks before you go to 2 weeks before your fight, you're Bomac's like, yo, what's your weight at? Halfway through that week, what's your weight at? By the time you get down to the week before the fight and you're done sparring and you're about to leave, you should just about be at weight. By Wednesday, you should be at the point where you're already drained down and ready to make weight. So
wrong. That's
knew,
wrong
they
right
knew
there.
That isn't wrong, but they knew Monday.
No, it
they
is
knew
wrong
they
because
used. Dude, you're not going to tell me, bro.
No, I am going to tell you because you don't know what you're talking about,
an idiot, bro.
You're an idiot. Because if you sit there and drain down that early,
dude, it doesn't take
Yeah,
two. What do you think it takes? 2
dude,
days to make
if
weight?
you drain down,
You have to know. You have to know when you're.
I do know, bro.
You should know
I
there's an
box,
issue
bro.
a week beforehand.
No, bro. If you sit there, bro, I box, bro. You sit on the damn couch. You sit on the couch. This is what I'm telling you.
Nah, yo, just let him talk, bro. Let him talk.
I'm gonna let Ill Will finish, and then Apex, I'm gonna let you respond. Go ahead, Ill Will.
All right, now they have to know if there's issues beforehand. This is why you do it. Because if you wait until the week before the fight and you're like, oh man, you're this much over, now you're going to have to drain yourself down too much and you're going to hurt yourself. Now, as Marty said, they knew a week before that fight that they already weren't making weight. He wasn't going to put himself in a position to be drained, so he brought himself up enough to where if they worked out a rehydration clause, he was good because he was already 5 pounds overweight. And they thought he would take the bait because he just had surgery, he had blood clot issues, and he was on a long layoff, correct? So they probably thought, oh, his pockets are hurting. So fuck it, we'll come in a little over so that even if they put a 3 pound on us, we're still 8 pounds up. And I can still perform at that level.
Okay, can I say something now?
And that's pretty much all I was trying to say.
Okay. Now see, this first off, what he's saying is it's called cheating. And it's called unprofessionalism. If you're contracted to fight at the weight, then you're supposed to make the weight. If you have to make the weight and your opponent has to make the weight, then why shouldn't you have to make the weight? Why should you have? So now you make an excuse for a fighter to have a tactical advantage by cheating, by coming in overweight. Like, first off, I mean, these new age boxing fans are crazy. And second off, you can bring up Rachel and Nonito Donaire, anybody that's ever boxed. Some fighters will lose 10 pounds overnight, getting the water off. You do not dehydrate yourself on Tuesday and Wednesday and carry it all the way to Friday. That's asinine. Do you know how much damage you would do to your body by making weight on Wednesday and holding it to Friday? Ain't nobody doing that. That's what I'm saying. People have fantasy lifestyles and fantasy models about boxing. People do not hold that damn weight for 2 damn days. That's crazy. If you ever watched a boxing, okay, you say you watched boxing. Have you ever noticed when a boxer makes weight, as soon as they make weight, what's the first thing they do, 2 Cent? As soon as they get off that scale, what they do?
They go and drink water, and that's not what
Okay,
I said.
they start
at all. I said on Wednesday
rehydrating.
he should be.
So okay, but hold on. I let you talk. Your name's not.
Yeah, and you interrupted me.
Okay. And I asked and I stopped. Now that you finish, and it'll be great if
now
you
you're
let me
telling
finish.
me I said something I didn't say. I didn't say that. I said come Wednesday, he should be just drained down to make weight.
One mic, like I'm Nas, baby. One night, one mic. But so, like I said, 2 Cent, you see, as soon as they get off weight, they go and rehydrate. So if a fighter makes weight or be right there at weight by Wednesday, they're hurting themselves, they're damaging themselves, they're keeping themselves emancipated, and they're making their muscles atrophy. And when your muscles are atrophy, it takes longer for you to rehydrate. That's why most fighters, Nonito Donaire, Rachel will tell you, they usually bust the last 8 to 10 pounds the night before. And it's when you take the water off, because what you're doing, your body's already there. What you're doing now is taking the water out of your system. You're draining the water out of your system. Most fighters are there physically with the weight. It's the water. And for us to make an excuse talking about he wants to come in a little bit overweight, that's called cheating. It's a contracted weight. If your opponent has to make the weight, then you have to make the weight. If we're making an excuse for an opponent to be able to come in overweight and force another man to take it, you're tricking the game.
That's true.
So it's okay for you to come in 135, 136, 137 because you the A side, and this man has to bust his ass to make 135. Then we're not seeing an equal fight. We're not seeing people at their equal skills. We're seeing one person with an advantage. That's one person with brass knuckles and one person with regular fists. Like I thought we wanted to see people at their. I thought we wanted to see boxing at its purest. I thought we wanted to see who was really better than the next one.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me respond to Ill Will and Apex the God, because like what they're saying is they're both right. Ill Will Keyshawn may have felt like, oh, if I make weight, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and all of that may be true. But my biggest Ill Will, I guess my biggest pushback to that is Keyshawn picked this opponent. It's not like Top Rank is making him fight him. He literally said, I picked this opponent. So you picked me. I'm thinking in my head, okay, you picking an opponent. You see the circumstances and everything he has to overcome to win this fight. And in addition to that, you got to strategize about the weight. Like that's unacceptable.
But
and that's
2
why
cents boxing. But 2 cents.
No,
That's
100%. I wasn't making an excuse for that either. I don't know why he said I was, but that's not what I was.
Wait, can I say something?
Before Boxer Agri talk real quick, I just want to know, since Keyshawn went down to do y'all think he started being undisciplined when he went down to his city?
No,
Is that the reason why he made weight?
I think
I feel like he's always the same person.
I think what Apex said was as close to what I was trying to say, and what it basically boils down to is, and I said this earlier, and then Apex came on and he backed me up. The thing about it is, Keyshawn Davis underestimated the fact that, number one, De Los Santos was ready. He was focused and he was going to make weight. And number two, he underestimated the fact that Edwin De Los Santos had good representation. Can I play y'all just a small little clip of what Keyshawn, it's only 10 seconds. This is what Keyshawn Davis said after the weigh-in when the interviewer asked him a question about fighting.
That already.
No, I want to, hold on.
Hold on, y'all.
Hold on. Let me show y'all why I'm saying what I'm saying to illustrate my point about the mentality that Keyshawn Davis had to back up what Apex is saying about how Keyshawn underestimated Edwin. Here it is. Listen to this. Roll the tape.
All right, so you're not going to give it a go. Therefore, the title tomorrow night only on the line for Edwin De Los Santos. With that said, I presume you're still going to go in there and try to put on a show for all your fans that are going to come out and see you tomorrow night at the Scope Arena.
I mean, for sure. That's what the businessman DB3 do. Like, we gonna put in the show, you know what I'm saying? Prayerfully, you know, everything still go through as planned. But I'm pretty sure he'll still take the fight. And, you know, the show must go on.
Yeah, you.
She said, so I'm sure you're going to go in there tomorrow night. And I'm going to stop there. First of all, she even thought the fight was going to happen tomorrow night. Now, what did Keyshawn say? He said, he said, you know, prayerfully, the fight still go through as planned. He said, I'm pretty sure that Edwin Rodriguez is still going to take the fight. See what I'm saying? He underestimated Edwin De Los Santos from the very beginning when it came to the weight, because remember, they pulled him off the couch unhealthy for a year and a half. That was a strategy to make him look good. But not only that, he also underestimated the fact that you couldn't just throw a couple dollars at Edwin De Los Santos for him to just normally take the fight like basically the B-sides typically do, because he had good representation. See, even Keyshawn thought the fight was going to happen tomorrow night. He said he was pretty sure, but he underestimated it, because I believe it was a part of his strategy.
So anyway, I wanted to jump in a little bit about this scenario, right? So people are looking at it like, oh, that he must have planned it ever since. Like he's been planning to miss weight, like throughout his camp or something. And you have to realize one thing: when it comes to cutting weight, like, it's a process for fighters. It's not like, they just plan. Like, sometimes a fighter can look like they're on point up to the last week, even up to the last day. You could say the week before, the week before might be their last week of sparring, and you'd be like, hey, what weight are you at? Oh, I'm only 5 pounds away. I'm only 4 pounds away, And it'd be the last week where they have a couple pounds left, and for some reason they'll be like, they just don't make it. Maybe they ate something the night before, and I've seen like a fighter like eat ice cream the night before and then he missed weight. So a lot of different scenarios can happen in those scenarios, in those situations that
you said you saw a fighter eat ice cream the night before.
So if I see a fighter look like he's gonna make weight, he's only 3 pounds off, and then he's even heavier than he was when he came back in.
That's not what happened here, bro.
No, wait, but it is plausible.
No, it's not plausible. He didn't miss weight by a midget.
It happens all the time.
He didn't miss weight by a
The only reason Bob Arum and Del Santos team didn't think that's what happened is because normally fighters dry out. So the process of drying out, it means that you're not drinking water. You're trying to cut down all your water weight.
Exactly. You can look at somebody and tell if they're trying to cut weight.
Yes, and so it didn't look like he dried out. So they looked at it like, oh, you didn't really try. Because a fighter
I mean, you're not really trying. What are you saying?
Yeah, that's not to say that was his plan from the beginning of the camp.
Bro, he came in 4.3 pounds over the weight limit.
Yes, it doesn't. It also doesn't mean
that's a strategy, boxing hacker.
Wait. It also doesn't mean that he was way bigger than that the night before.
How come you didn't say that about Ryan Garcia, boxing hacker?
No, what I did say about Ryan Garcia is that they fought on equal terms.
Wait, well, hold on. Let me be clear. So let me get this straight. Keyshawn Davis said he tried the night before, and he tried the morning. You mean to tell me for one night and the morning that whatever he was doing to try, he never lost not 1 pound?
It's so possible. No, okay. Normally you can at least lose 2. Normally, if you just go to sleep and wake up, you lose 1 pound.
Boxing hacker.
Normally you do that. However, it depends on your body. Wait, let me answer your question. So if your body is already dried out and all you have is muscles left, it becomes very hard. It actually becomes really hard. It depends where you are. So
I know
it's possible that he could have been like 141 or 142. And
it don't make no difference.
But he can't do anything more.
What I'm saying is he was over 140 pounds. That's the point that I'm making.
It's possible, but it doesn't mean that he was like 8 to 10 pounds.
I didn't say nothing about 8 to 10, bro.
It also doesn't mean that he was at the beginning.
Let me explain the difference to you real quick, bro.
Yeah.
Like as Isaiah said, Chris Eubank, he was trying to make the weight, and he still didn't make the weight. But you seen Chris Eubank. What was he doing? He was in the sauna blanket. He was doing all this and all of this crazy stuff he was doing to do what? Make the weight. And what happened? He still didn't make the weight. When we say Keyshawn Davis didn't make the weight, Manager Marty just explained to you 2 or 3 different instances in between not making that weight where he could have tried to lose more weight. And he did not.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
So
I
what
think
you're
Two Cent.
saying is irrelevant, bro. Hold
I
on,
think
Rich.
what
Now
Ill
let's
Will
help
was
you out.
saying was a
Hold
little
on,
bit more
Rich.
correct
Hold
though.
on, Boxing Hacker. Hold on, Boxing
It is
Hacker.
correct.
So
People just don't know. I don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is more
If
correct.
you're
I think
fighting on Saturday, on Wednesday or
yeah,
Thursday, you should be getting on a scale and being at a goal weight so that you can dehydrate for that fight. If you're not
yeah,
at that weight, then you're gonna have to get on a treadmill and do some running like Spence did right before the fight.
exactly, and that only
And
exactly.
that's what I
confirms
was
what
getting at.
Boxing Hacker. That's going against what you're saying because that
No,
only
no,
confirms that he knew he wasn't gonna
He
make the
knew
weight.
that.
no. But
They knew that already,
what my
bro.
manager Marty was saying
They
is like
knew
he
that
planned it
already.
throughout his camp. I don't think that's
Like
what
you're
I
happened. I think
didn't
talking,
say.
the
I
whatever,
last
didn't.
week
whoever's
Hold
they
talking
on.
probably
about like
saw
losing
problems, and
10
he was
I
like,
pounds in
didn't
one
say.
day, that's not at the back end of a
But
training
that,
camp. You don't
hey,
drop
but
10
that
pounds
goes
of weight
back.
at the
That
back
goes.
end of
That
a
goes.
training
That
camp.
goes
That's
back.
just the
That goes
dumbest
back
stuff
to.
I ever heard in my
That
life.
goes back to Keyshawn team though, because Keyshawn team should have said something. If they knew this a week ago, Keyshawn team should have
That's
tried
what
to already
manager
That's why they
Marty
were
is
negotiate
in on
something.
it.
saying.
That's what's being said.
Now I'm
I
just
don't
saying they
know.
should already
They might
try.
not
They
know
should
though.
already.
So just
They should already try to negotiate something. We should fight at 136
No,
Rich,
or
he was only
137.
4 pounds over.
Exactly.
Rich.
Poor
That's
they
guy,
what I'm
thought.
yeah,
saying. Hey,
guy.
Rich. That's what
Yeah.
I've been saying all morning on my podcast.
Okay,
That
let me
they
ask you
should
guys
have.
something.
That goes back to that because that's all they had to do was negotiate that shit.
Yes.
But like I
Yes.
said though, I feel like the Keyshawn mind is I don't know if y'all guys familiar with the term. I'd rather get caught with it than without it. I feel like that in this mind that he already knew that if he had
100%.
135, it was a likely chance that he would have came. He already know he can't make weight, so at 135,
He
he
be
know he
drained,
going to get somebody that's really
And he's not going to
that's
underperform.
really could
really
hit.
something. Yeah.
So it could turn out bad for him. So he was like, man, I'd rather get caught with it than without it. So he
Rich,
said,
and
fuck
Hey,
you're
it,
right.
let
I'm
me
Hey,
gonna be
let
Rich,
at
me say
Let me
this.
ask
138,
you
Let
guys
me,
something
139.
though.
You
you're
know what
That's
I'm
so
saying?
literally all I was saying the whole time.
You're absolutely Rich. You're absolutely correct, and that's why he had the mentality of I'd rather get caught with it than without it, and that's why he was banking on De Los Santos was going to take this extra couple of hours anyway.
He figured he'd
Let me
been out for a
let me
year
just
on
ask
this
you a
and let me
question
weight.
real
say
quick.
this.
It will.
Let me
Let me
say
ask
this
you one
real quick.
question,
Hold
right?
on, Boxing Hacker. Let me say this real quick. Listen, if y'all enjoying the show, be sure to punch that like and subscribe button. We got 80 people watching the show right now. The numbers are growing exponentially. Ain't that right, Manager Marty? Y'all be sure to punch that like
Oh,
and
the
subscribe button.
viewership is increasing exponentially. Hit the
We
like
got
button.
Manager Marty on here rolling the tape. Y'all be sure to help support the channel by hitting the Cash App at 2 Cents Boxing or leaving your 2 cents in a super chat. Very deep conversation we having today. Very interesting points of views. And I think that the discussion of, was this done on purpose? I think that's a legitimate discussion to have because I hear what Boxing Hacker is saying, but Boxing Hacker is not understanding the difference between I didn't make the weight and I didn't try to make the weight. And I think what Ill Will is saying is, hey, by this time you at this weight because you're gonna be trying to get off this much weight before the fight.
Well,
And
Yeah.
2 cents. Ill Will is
Hold on.
echoing. Hold
What I was
on,
trying to
Ill
say.
Will, Boxer Hacker. Ill Will is echoing what I said.
No, but
That's what
what?
he's
So
okay.
doing.
wait.
He makes sense.
One
He
second, guys. One
Ill Will
second.
makes sense. He's saying the same thing. He's showing you that what I was saying makes a lot of sense, bro.
Yeah.
They
So
knew a
like,
week ago.
and nobody's nobody. I'm not
They
saying
knew
that.
last week. Hey, Dean,
There,
they knew
so I don't.
last week.
It's hard to say that. Okay.
Man,
They
Let me just ask
knew.
you a quick
007.
question.
Hold on,
Did
Boxing
you?
Hacker.
What's
Hold
up,
on,
Dean?
Boxing
What's
I'm
up,
Hacker.
in
Dean?
the
What's up,
business,
Dean?
Boxing Hacker.
homie.
Let me tell you this. Boxing Hacker, let me tell you this,
Yeah.
right? My son fight amateurs, and I mean,
Okay.
he don't gotta like cut no whole bunch of weight or nothing like that. But maybe,
Yeah.
5, 7 pounds, maybe 10 if he been tripping.
Okay.
I guarantee you I know how much he's weighing a week before the fight.
Bruh.
My question to you.
Because my son is not a professional, so if he try to lose all his weight in one day, he not used to that, so it's gonna have an effect on him. So I definitely know how much he weighs.
Yeah, you
His
do.
team
But let me
knows
ask
how
you a
much he
question with
weighs
that.
because these kids are weighing themselves every day at the gym after
Yes.
practice leading up to a fight
Yes.
because they trying
Boxer
to get
Hacker.
on weight.
And let me ask you a question about that.
Hold on,
Okay,
y'all. We got Team
what
on the
if you?
panel. Shout out
Hold on, let
Team.
me.
What's up, yo? What's up,
James.
2 Cent? What's going on, y'all? I hope everybody doing good, man. I just wanted to say this, y'all. This is where boxing hackers listening. Everybody's missing the biggest point. There is no excuse on how you know that he did it on purpose. Because Keyshawn already admitted that he was already knew that he was having trouble making the weight prior to this fight. He already knew he was struggling to make 135 prior to his fight. So even before training camp start,
Keyshawn Davis, his words, not mine. His words, not mine. Knew that he had trouble making weight. It's no way you come in at 139 because first of all, if you knew you had trouble making the weight, why would you even sign the contract if you knew that you wasn't even going to try to cut to make the weight? It's no way you come in that high. You was 4.3 over. You don't come 4.3 over without trying to do that deliberately, because this is where it get tricky, y'all. Why you ain't come in a 0.7 right at 5? Because anything 5 and over, they would have canceled it. So you knew not to be over 5 pounds. So you worked hard enough to not be over 5 pounds, but just enough to where as though they don't make you drop the weight after knowing before you signed the contract, y'all, that you was having a hard time making this weight 2 to 3 fights prior. It ain't no excuse, bro, because this is where it get tricky. You didn't even, you signed this up in your hometown. Why would you even put yourself in jeopardy like that for a title defense in your hometown? They are building the whole card around you. So why would you even do that? Why wouldn't you even try to make the weight? That's the problem that everybody is. I don't want to hear nothing, man, because you wasn't over 5 pounds, but you was close to it. You would have, think about this, y'all. He would have barely been able to make it if it was 140. If somebody come in at 139.3 or 0.5, you're going to be like, man, he pushing it kind of close. He might want to move up to 147 like Devin did. Devin came in at 140 on the nose. He had to strip naked. That's why he got off. That's why he moved to the other division. Nah, y'all, I can't let Keyshawn get that, bro.
Hey, Dean.
Let me get the super chat. Let me get the super chat. Listen, I got 86 likes. I need 14 more likes before I have 100 likes before I get off the live. I know y'all enjoying the show. Punch that like button. Shout out to GM with the $4.99 in the super chat. He says, boxing hacker, before Keyshawn missed weight, he said he was 146 all camp and that he could keep making 35. So how you gonna defend that?
Hold on before Boxing Hager talk. Hold on before Boxing Hager talk. Hey, Boxing Hager, hold on before you talk. That's like I'm saying, man. Like I feel like I know y'all familiar with the term I just said. I feel like he could have made 135, right? But I feel like that he looking at it as like, this ain't no bear check. This ain't no bum ass nigga I'm fighting. I'm not about to weight drain myself. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he is wrong for that. But he should have also negotiated, man. That's the only thing I say. He should have been there that a week before. He should have tried to pull a Devin Haney. Let's fight at 140 something when he was fighting that Ramirez or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can't defend him on that. Like you said, I can't defend that shit, man.
Yeah, missing
He know who he was going up against. That's all. He knew who he was going up against, and he's saying, fuck it. I ain't about to come in there. And I don't blame him. If I feel I'd move the same way, but he should have gave him a heads up though.
But Rick, you want to know what make it even worse?
Hold on one second, Dean. I'm not defending him missing weight, right? It's not about me. Missing weight is wrong. Missing weight, it's sort of like cheating, right? However, what I'm saying
I'm about to jump off. 2 cents.
So what I'm saying is this, right? It's hard to measure when a fighter is off track. For instance, if let's say like, okay, 2 cents, let me ask you something. Let's say you have a fighter at 135, right? And it's a week before the fight. What weight do you expect him to be at?
What weight they fighting at?
They're fighting 135. So the week before.
I mean, it depends on the fighter. I mean,
no, but like what? Like, so you're saying that they should know they should have said something last week. But what weight? Okay, just put yourself in the trainer's shoes. What weight do you expect the fighter to be at the week before?
I don't know. It depends on the fighter, but whatever that weight is, they need to be that weight.
You see the problem? So people don't know where you're at. You could be at 146 last week and doesn't look like a red flag. It'll be like, okay, you got like what, 10 pounds? All right, you're gonna be training, you're not gonna drink so much water, yada yada. Last week, this is last week. You could be at 140 and we'll be like, okay, no problem.
It's way more.
The problem happens. Normally the problem happens that week of. Maybe like the last few days that throw people
unless
off.
you're BSing, cutting weight and losing weight is way more intentional than that. Unless you just willy-nilly with it.
It's not like what people think. I don't know. I feel like people underestimate losing weight. I've seen losing weight both in boxing and wrestling. It's not as simple as you think. Like you can look at a fighter and you think he's gonna make weight. The whole camp you think he's gonna make weight. It be the last few days and they be off, or they just can't drop any more weight.
Hey,
So
I don't think y'all remember when Gary Anton was about to fight Pollo, right? But before that, he was about to fight De Los Santos at 140. So maybe he was like, probably, I don't know. I can't put nothing in his head. Maybe he's like, man, this nigga ain't got no problem with making 140 or something like that.
I hear what you're saying, and you're not wrong, but it doesn't apply to this situation, Boxing Hacker.
No, I'm saying
it's one thing if he looked drained or he looked like how Devin Haney looked against Lomachenko, and somebody was like, Devin missed weight. Nobody would have no issue with Devin missing weight looking like that.
I agree. I think at one point he gave up. Like I said, I think at one point he was like, he looked at it and said,
that's acceptable, bro.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
No, I'm just saying it's acceptable. But this whole narrative of like they were planning to do it to like disadvantage us all through. I think shit just went to the fans the last week, and that's why I don't see it like
Boxagger. You don't think he was like, damn, this nigga really can fight. I ain't about to come in weight train, and I don't know if this guy gonna pull another limos on me. And he good. I done talked to Keyshawn. Keyshawn told me, yeah, that nigga know how to hit. He ain't something different. Because you remember Keyshawn said out of his mouth. Shakur said out of his mouth. Shakur said when Keyshawn first got that fight, he said he got on the phone, told Keyshawn who to spar, and he gave him a rundown about that. He said he ain't nowhere near mad about that. You get what I'm saying? So, and you don't think Keyshawn was like, damn, man, Shakur said.
I don't think it's fear. I think you're right. So I think you're right, partially right. I don't think he's afraid of Del Santo. I feel like he's afraid of being
I ain't gonna say he's afraid. I
Del
don't think
Santo.
he's afraid. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
that.
I think
I would never say that. I would never say
Not
that.
to cut y'all off, but we about to stop this conversation because this is some ridiculous shit y'all talking about. All of this.
We should be talking about why they fight 140.
Like none of the, who cares? Like if you felt that way, you shouldn't have picked him then, bro. You literally picked him to fight. But listen, I'm over my time. I'm on 7:20. I was supposed to end at 7. Boxing Hacker, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Hey, salute to you too, Sam. Yeah, so like I was saying before, I just when it comes to that situation, like I said, Keyshawn takes an L for the weekend. I've been saying it, like even if they fight, I would think it was cheating. I criticized Ryan for the same thing, and which is funny. So many people here are complaining, but I know some people here were like, "Oh, the 3 pounds didn't matter," like weight when it comes to weight cuts. When one person's not, and one person's cutting fully and the other person's not, it's not a fair fight. At the end of the day, I think that was something.
Hey, call them out, Boxing Hackler. Call them people out that said 3 pounds ain't matter when Ryan did it.
They know who they are. All those people talking about Ryan didn't cheat. Devin dug the left hook.
Call them out, Boxing.
They ignored that.
No. Hold on. Ain't no calling them out because it obviously mattered because they canceled the fight.
Yeah, people forget that.
Yeah, it obviously matters.
Now you remember how bad it is not to make the weight. But with Ryan, they were like, "Oh, they're making excuses. They need excuses for it. Look at the Hanos clan go." But yeah, at the end of the day, like I don't think it was, I don't think Bomac's team just planned for him outright not to cut weight. I just think shit just went to the fans, and I think Keyshawn looked at it, and a lot of people said the same thing. That Keyshawn looked at it at the end of the day, it was like, I could try and make 135, but then I'll probably be drained. Or I could just more likely I'm gonna get fined, which is not right. No, it's not right, but it sort of means necessary. But I don't think it was like premeditated from the beginning. As far as the apology goes, I don't think they feel like they're wrong. The problem is with the apology, I don't think they feel like they're wrong. When you look at what they said on Twitter, they were like, we don't know all the story. I would love for them I would love for them to say their story. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, all in all, man, shouts out to Keisha. Hopefully they bounce back. It was a bad weekend, but shit happens. Hopefully they can learn from it and come back and be better. Hopefully they take one of the big fights like maybe Richardson Hitchens or something, or a push for Abdullah. I would love for Keisha and Abdullah to get on next if that's possible. But salute to you guys.
Shout out to Boxing Hacker. I doubt Keyshawn Davis is fighting Abdullah Mason. Will, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Yeah, basically, this dude's talking about how you can lose weight like it's nothing, but pretty much like what it is, it comes down to anatomy, and that's why they manage your weight down like on a weekly basis and like half weeks, because you don't want to drop 10, 15 pounds right before you go in the ring, because you got to think your sparring's at the end of the last week. So if you're coming down 10 pounds before your fight without sparring, your timing's off, your stamina's off, all that's off. You're trying to mimic as much as possible in a healthy way. So that's all I was trying to say. But yeah, he basically, that was all strategy, 100% exactly like Manager Marty said. And not for nothing, if you knew you were close to losing weight, then you should have dared to be great, just like you wanted T.O. You should have petitioned WBO and asked for T.O.
Right.
Instead, you're sitting here trying to play games with Mason. Like, and not for nothing, Mason looked amazing yesterday. He showed 3 signs of defense. He threw poise. He stepped in when he went to throw hard. He jumped in the pocket. He was ripping the right hand to the body and stuff. I don't care what anybody says. Mason goes up to 140. He's knocking Keyshawn out.
No.
Yeah, in two fights, he's going up to 140 and knocking him out. Keyshawn's trash, bro.
Shout out Ill Will for coming up and giving his 2 cents for the show. We got Rich. What's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
That guy Ill Will. I ain't gonna sit there and say Mason's a hell of a fighter. I like him, but I ain't gonna sit there and say he gonna knock Keyshawn out until I see that fight, until I see more of Mason fight people. You know what I'm saying? And really salute to the panel, salute to the chats. I'm gonna hear Truth and Greg get up on there, salute to them, because I know they're gonna talk some shit, good shit. Shakur fight July 12th. And yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you for coming up, Rich. Appreciate you coming up, giving your 2 cents. Teach, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Yeah, thanks for having us up, 2 cents, for this conversation. I just want to get back to the apology. Yeah, Bomac and Bud shouldn't have to apologize on behalf. Keyshawn is the one who caused the harm, right? And if he's not the one stepping up, I mean, it doesn't feel sincere. So that's the point, and I agree. Now, just to add some context, because I want to, so take it if you want. What if tempers are flared and Albright's team didn't want to see Keyshawn in that moment? Maybe that's why, Bomac and Bud went instead, right? But maybe they should have, handled it a different way. Maybe they could have brought Keyshawn with them just to show that they came in peace and just let him apologize. I mean, that would have gone like a long way if they did that. But at the end of the day, the personal apology still needs to happen. So Keyshawn still needs to do that. Maybe he could call him on social media and apologize face to face. But yeah, that apology needs to happen. And for like what it's worth, right? 3 things came out, good from this event. Santos kind of showed that he was ready to still fight, but it's good that Sam's son made pull him. And Top Rank wasn't obligated to pay, but again, they did the customary thing and just paid him anyway. And Mason, he stepped up in the main event and delivered the win. So those were like some positives of the event. And that's my 2 cents. Salute to 2 cents, the whole panel. Yeah, Mr. Greg, peace.
All right, Teach.
All right, shout out Teach. Mr. Greg, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
I'll say again, he was very unprofessional. He should pay a price for being unprofessional. There had to have been a plan once they realized he's not going to make weight. So there had to have been some plan formatted for them to still get on the scales knowing that he was already overweight. What they tried to do is what they tried to do. Fortunately, De Los Santos' corner and his people were very wise too. And that's what we sort of haven't talked too much on. They were very wise to realize they were stepping up big time with this fight, be it that he's been out of the ring for a while and that he had a medical issue. So they came in, they were going to be at somewhat of a they were going to be at a big disadvantage, I should say, fighting Keyshawn while he's overweight and not trying to. And that's the key that I think they missed your saying. he didn't even try to take off some additional weight. He immediately just took the position, I'm not doing it, throw him some money, see what happens. Well, you see what happens. And that's the thing that bothers me about it. There was no effort to do right by this man. But his corner, his people did. They realized we're not going to let him fight at any more of a disadvantage. We're not going to just take a little bit of money. This man has already been sick. He could get hurt worse coming in back from this sickness, from this layoff, to take such a fight. So I think they did the right thing. There was a line that they drew, and they didn't cross over it. And that's the kind of professionalism sometimes you have to have. What Keyshawn and his brothers and his people were doing, again, there could be some mental health issues. It doesn't make any difference. When you're at this particular point in your career, these are the turning points, really, where what you do next will somewhat define what happens going forward. And what could happen going forward is going to be up to Top Rank. Do we want this headache, or do we want to see if we can resolve it so this doesn't happen again? Because this is more than just not making weight. There's some other things happening with that kid and it don't have to be big, but it could be a lot of small things. Either way, he blew a big night for himself, for his career, in front of his hometown, and the public officials who tried to get behind him to do something positive. And he blew all of that by his own behavior. He should apologize to the town of Richmond. He should be apologizing to the public officials to make sure, hey, listen, I made a mistake. Please forgive me, and look for another opportunity for them to come back and get behind him as well. Because that's how you rise. You don't just rise on your own. Other people who have tools, who have money, who can open doors for you, have to be in your corner as well. Nobody gets anywhere by themselves. Now you can hurt yourself by yourself, and apparently they didn't learn that lesson yet. So a lesson has to be taught, and some punishments of some sort that are designed to help him has to be implemented as well. So where we're standing at right now is we saw a fighter who might have a problem that could be fixed. We saw a fighter who needs to say sorry for what he's done. He got a record, and I don't think he understands all that he's caused. It wasn't just that he didn't get paid. There was revenue that was lost for all the people who decided not to come once they know his fight was canceled, for all the businesses who probably would have got an extra boot at their cash register, at their bars, at their restaurants, that they lost as well. Bob had to spend money. That money is gone. So he has to realize his action had a domino effect, and it caused everybody else to lose as well. And that's what they're not understanding. And not just that you didn't get any money, a lot of other people didn't either. And they spent money that you didn't. Hopefully they'll understand that. We never will see this again. How they handle it, well, once again, comes down to how valuable Top Rank feels he is. And we'll see soon enough, or we will see depending on when the next time he fights and who he fights. But this was a great panel. It was good to see a lot of guys come on and be reasonable and accurate, in my opinion, in their assessment of this fight. And it's good to see that you saw that and put it out there. There was never any effort that we as fight fans could see that he would try to lose this weight. We just saw, I'm just not doing it. He's just not at that point where he could be like that. And it is a form of cheating when you purposely just want to go ahead and not make weight and think you can pay your way out of it. I'm glad De Los Santos did not allow that to happen. They thought more about their fighter and what he was coming from than just chased after some money. And you don't see that too often. Everybody wants to get the payday as fast as they could. He still got a nice little payday for training and being prepared. And that's what we say. It's always it's better to be prepared and never get the chance than to get the chance and not prepared. And we saw what that means in this particular situation right there for De Los Santos, at least. And that's all I got. I'm not gonna go any further because I know you gotta get
All
off.
right, all right, all right. Thank you, Mr. Greg. Thank you for coming up and giving your 2 cents. And listen, I didn't even really get into even the brothers' reaction. Maybe I'll talk about it Tuesday, 2 cents after dark. But even the brothers' reaction, where they're like, a lot of people have stuff to say about Keyshawn. What do you think? And he like, fuck him. And it's like, fuck him. What do you mean, bro? Your brother's the one that messed up. How you mad at? How you gonna F me? Because I got some criticisms and some issues with the person that I came to see that I bought these tickets for, and you gonna say F me? See what I'm saying? Like they gotta learn to take some accountability and understand that everybody's not always wrong and you not always right. Apology. Listen, as soon as he stepped off that scale, I want to apologize to my fans. I know I didn't make weight. I know y'all came to see a fight. Boom. Soon as the fight was canceled, I would like to apologize to my fans. I take full accountability. There were some things that needed to be done that I didn't get done this camp in order to make the weight. I know it's unprofessional of me, but unprofessional of me moving forward. Blah 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 blah. My apologies. Soon as you went in the dude locker room while he's celebrating and headbutting him, I just would like to take the time to apologize. But it sounds crazy because you've been apologizing all weekend. You've been apologizing all weekend. So it's just at the point to where, sometimes somebody do so much and then they finally apologize. It's like, all right, yeah, okay. But you done too much. Shout out to Boxing Hacker with the $2 in the super chat. He says, Key successfully made people forget about Mason. Shout out Boxing Hacker. Exactly, Boxing Hacker. He successfully stole the show by acting like a little. That ain't no flex. That's not cool at all, man. I'm telling you, I think that there are certain things that fighters do in their careers and it splits their fan base. It splits their fan base. I'm not saying Keyshawn is done. I'm not saying he the worst person in the world. I'm not saying his career is over. I'm not saying you can't make a mistake. But I'm saying you can't make a mistake. Not like this. You can, but you got to deal with the consequences in a moment like this with the people riding on it, sponsors that sponsored the event from your city. You got to build those type of relationships to keep it going. You can't just sever them and mess them up because you wanted to not make weight. And that's the whole point that me, 2 Cents Boxing, is trying to make. Shout out to Big Dog Willie with the $2 in the super chat. He says it's Tank fault. Shout out Big Dog Willie. That's all I'm trying to say. But let me get the like check. Do we got the 100 likes yet? I think somebody said we needed 9 more. Y'all be sure to punch that like button before we get up out of here. Get me to 100 likes. Let me see where we at. 92 likes. Come on, y'all. Punch that like button. Punch the like button. Now, by the time I get through with the outro, we should have those 7 additional likes to get to 100. Excuse me. Let me sip some water real quick. Come on, 94 likes. Let's get to 100. Get to 100. If you're not subbed to the channel, make sure you sub to the channel. Shout out to everybody that joined the panel today. We had some new faces on the panel. And let me say this, right? People want to complain about who be on the panel. Listen, if they click the link, they're allowed to come up and get a 2 cents. As long as they not being disrespectful and rude. Y'all know how the rules go. I can't just excommunicate people from the panel. If you want to come on the panel, come on up there. Take up a space. Because once the panel full, the panel get full. But I appreciate the different people that came up on the panel today. It was some people's first time today coming up on the panel. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody that joined me on the panel for the first time today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the diversity of opinions when people come on the channel. I like the back and forth debates. I like how people can disagree and agree to disagree. That's what this platform is all about. That's what this platform is all about. So if you don't want your host cussing you out, timing you out in the chat, kicking you off the panel, putting you in the background, come on over to 2 Cents Boxing, where we talk everything boxing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion.